she has I'm going live. I mean, I'm live right now, but I'm still like looking at stuff on YouTube that I want to watch later, putting things in my um save for later watch. Wow, she got all that hair and she's still putting weave in her hair. That looks interesting. She's got feet in braids, but she's got a lot of hair. And she's still putting in fake hair. I'm gonna watch that for later. That's interesting. I'll watch that for later. I'm just checking out stuff to watch while I wait for some folks to come into the room. Just like the title says, I got some magazines to read with you. And I got some questions like if you could own your own business and be your own boss, what would that business be and what would you do? Wait, what did she say? Oh, that's talking about Maleficent. Mm-hmm. Is that a TED Talk? Homemade, how to make lemon powder. DIY seasonings. That looks interesting. With everything going on right now, there are a lot of either prepper videos coming up in my stream or recipes coming up in my stream or a homesteading type of videos. Or maybe because I've been watching a lot of my friend Katat and Cooking Mom's Homestead. Maybe that's why. But I've been finding a lot of videos coming up. Uh, a lot of videos coming up talking about how to make, um, basically how to be self-sufficient. It's really, really interesting actually. Pusa Studios, question time. What country do you live in? You know what? YouTube makes so many updates that when I go to the app, things look different. So, like for example, Pusa Studios is right there on the side asking a question, but then this other person has some art going on, right? So, is that Pusa Studios or is it the art person? Or are they featuring that person? Because sometimes in the community tab, people can feature somebody else. What country do you live in? All right, I've been on for about 3 minutes. I'm just waiting for anybody to come in, and if not, I'm gonna read my magazines by myself until somebody does come in. What country do you live in? Let's see. USA, Texas. Which I think they already know that about me. All right. Or maybe it was just, okay, I get it now. No, I don't. Because it still looks a little weird. Online school. Good morning. Pop up wheel of shout outs. I was already in that one. Brave New World versus 1984. Because I've been watching a lot of that lately. Alan Watts, if you're listening to this lecture, then you're ready to wake up. I like some Alan Watts stuff, but a lot of those philosophical and deep thinkers. I like deep thinking, but no deep thinker is like an actual Christian. It's like either or. And then they start talking about some other stuff. It's kind of like you have to be here or there. Like I've yet to come across a deep thinker who is also a Christian. However, one of my coworkers has recently told me, "Oh, that looks good. Whoa, that looks yummy. Eggless chocolate cream horns by Hida Mari. Oh man, I gotta say that. I'm sorry. Just the way they pulled that fluffy croissant apart and all that chocolate was in there. Ooh. Anyways, one of my coworkers was telling me about a speaker, teacher, philosopher, psychiatrist named Jordan Peterson, and I like a lot of his videos too. And some of it seems agnostic type, but then my coworker said, "Oh no, he's a Christian." But when he teaches his classes, it has to be from like a non-religious point of view. What is going on with my settings? I keep seeing something pop up with YouTube suggesting the audio stream's current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. We recommend that you use an audio stream at, okay, don't know what that means. I'm plugged in. I'm plugged into my Wi-Fi, so that should be good. I got my hardline Wi-Fi up, so I should have excellent. All right, I'm just gonna wait a few more minutes for anybody watching this on the replay. You could probably fast forward at this point, like maybe a minute or two. I'm going to drink some ginger ale. Whoa, because I ate quite a bit for dinner or for my supper, and my food just doesn't want to digest properly. So just a little ginger ale to smooth things out. I do have some water next to me. My daughter drank my little bottle of water, and so I've got my big thing of water here, which it would look a little tacky to drink this on a live stream, right? But that's okay. I'm going to drink it because I don't have a cup. All right. I'm going to wait one more minute, and then I'm going to start reading my magazine because that's what it's all about. I really want to talk to some folks and just have a nice little dialogue, conversation. And the question of the day is that if you could have your own business, what would it be? I'm at home, I'm reading my business magazines. I made a couple videos of, well, I made a video a couple of weeks ago for International Women's Day, and I talked about some of these magazines here, and I made another video just the other day about business books for kids. And so I'm really trying to put some more business related content back onto the channel, not just personal blog stuff, although I will be incorporating some personal stuff in here. But today I would really like to know, if you could have your own business, what would it be? That's what I would like to know. Looks like Katat and Cooking Mama's Homestead is going to make some butter. Oh yeah, the ghee. She was talking about that the other day. That's scheduled for Saturday? I think, no, Wednesday. On the 26th. Erica Williams has got some stuff coming up. Don't want to watch anything on the president. Let's see. Bree Hall. I feel like I just was watching her. Tanae Talks. Wow, she really cleared up her skin. Oh, I'm going to watch this later. What did she use? Divine Disruption, March 22nd. That's from Tony Evans. Oh, I did want to watch him. Oh, that looks good too. The Bible Project. And there goes Life of Steph. I think I watched that one already. Actually, no, I didn't. I'll save that for later too. Wow. I am just so in awe when I see nappy headed women like myself growing beautifully long, thick, and healthy nappy 4C hair. I love it. I love it. I want nappy to be unstigmatized. Oh, look how beautiful her hair is. Look at that beautiful, beautiful, thick nappy hair. She turned around like, "Are you talking about me?" I'm like, yes, I am. I want to know how to make my hair long like that. So thick and beautiful. Okay, I'm going to save that for later. And then I'm going to put my phone down because I'm getting distracted at this point. Check all my notifications. Yes, yes, yes. And yes. All right. So, oh, you couldn't even see the picture. All you could see was Dick Gregory's beard. Yeah, you couldn't see the picture. All you could see was Dick Gregory's beard. Let me put that back up there just so you can see. Hold on. You know how they got the whole preview thing where it kind of, and now it's starting back over from the beginning. Didn't get almost all of it out. Hey guys, welcome to my. All right, show you that way. That's what I was looking at. I don't know what channel this is. Eugenia Kesey. Look at all that beautiful thick hair. Oh my goodness. Stuff like this, videos like this will keep me on YouTube all day, every day. And then she turned around and looked like, who, me? Yes, down face you. Okay, that's what I was looking at, but now I am putting my phone down. Okay, so I'm gonna have to wait for a moment. I need some people to actually come into the room for me to ask my question because the question in the title. Ooh, I hope I'm not gonna be burpy. The question in the title is not something I can answer myself. It is definitely a question that I want to have asked between you all. So that part of the live I will have to save there. So until somebody comes in, I will just be talking about some of these magazines that I got here. So a couple weeks ago, I went to my Barnes and Nobles before everything started to get shut down, and I got let's see, one book. This is Tax Guide, the Essential Tax Guide. I can't see myself. I got the Essential Tax Guide, so I do want to make a video based off of some information that I get off of here that I'll share with you guys. I've got this one. I've actually shared at least one article, Women Inc. That's Mary Barra, president of GM, General Motors, or Chief Executive Officer of General Motors. And I talked about some of the things that General Motors is doing to help women maintain a significant part of participation in the organization by giving them different support, especially when they are going out to have children or have had children, to get them reintegrated into the workforce. So I talked about that one already. This one I have not yet. I mentioned it, but I didn't really go through it. This is Entrepreneur Magazine. I did mention that Tracy Ellis Ross was on the cover, and she's talking about voice, vision, authenticity, and that's what wins. And let's see. Women working. I think I pulled a couple pieces out from this magazine. Work, women working for a stronger America. We are women. Let's see. I don't remember what I talked about from here. I did take some notes. It looks like I went through and I took some notes. I don't know what I was going to talk about, but there was some interesting stuff in here. Some of that I will be able to get through today. Let's see. I have the Network Journal. And the Network Journal is a magazine for Black professionals and small businesses. It talks about leadership and diversity and diversifying prosperity. And this is the 40 under 40. See that? I love that number, 40. This is the 40 under 40 achievement. So all these people here featured on the cover are under the age of 40 and they have achieved some type of success. Not really sure what. The Network Journal, 40 under 40, Achievements Awards Reaching for Higher Goals. So I hadn't got to that one yet. And then this one, if my son was still at home, can you see me there? Let's pull this down a little bit. If my son was still at home, I would encourage him to read this one. I would definitely encourage my son to read this for no particular reason at all, just because I think he might be interested. And so this magazine is actually like a spinoff. Green Entrepreneur is a spinoff of Entrepreneur. This is business in general, and this is business that revolves around the marijuana industry, marijuana and CBD products. And right here on the cover, it talks about, this is for winter 2019. So if you go out to your local bookstore, you might find you might find the one for spring, because this says winter of 2019. But by the time you go out, if you don't see this on the shelf, you'll probably see one for spring. And let's see what it says here on the cover. CBD success, new opportunities in the hottest industry. That's on page 26. Raising money, 5 surefire ways to get funding fast. And shed the stigma, how to talk about working in cannabis. Maybe 10 years ago, it might have been unheard of or just unimaginable to have like marijuana based businesses. But see, I'm sure everyone listening, either in the replay or in the live chat, if you go out on any, any like shopping strip or shopping plaza or even on any corner, like CBD is everywhere, at least here in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Everywhere I go, there is CBD somewhere. The little corner store down the street from me, this year, like January 1st, I noticed they had a banner up and it said CBD available here and kratom. I don't know what kratom is. I got to do some research on that. But everywhere I go, either in smoke shops or natural holistic shops, vitamin shops, everybody's pushing the CBD. And so that's what it talks about here on the cover. CBD success, new opportunities in the hottest industry, raising money, and then shed the stigma. How to talk about working in cannabis. And this is green entrepreneur. So that's the green that they're talking about. The best bud tenders, not bartender, but the best bud tenders of 2019. Secrets of a ganja influencer. So we know about social influencers. Those are people in social media talking about whatever, either fashion or business or health and beauty or something like that. So these are, ganja influencers. Let's see, on page 24 it says make cannabis a family business. I told my son a while ago, I said, if you're going to be into this, if you're interested in this, make it a business. He was not interested. But make cannabis a family business. And then we've got here what it takes to build a hit brand. I didn't think cannabis or CBD could be branded. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I do know that there are different strains because they have different names, right? Different names, different strains, different colors. Yeah, different strains, different names, different colors. And something about, I think somebody told me once, something about with the female plant versus the male plant. I don't smoke, so I don't know a lot about it. But I'm going to go through this one first and see what type of information is in here. For privacy reasons, for the title, anybody watching may not want to share that this might be a business that you would want to go through. But if you know somebody or if you have a friend who would be interested in this, let me know. The title is If You Could Own Your Own Business, What Would It Be? There are a lot of people taking advantage of this particular industry and market that's coming up. And so I thought it would be interesting to get the magazine. So I'm going to go through this and just hang out with you guys. Whoever comes in, comes in. And if not, then I'll be reading to myself because I got a lot of time on my hands right now. Don't we all? Okay, this is the editor's note. It says knowledge is power. Talking about page 8. How education could help improve the future of weed. So let's check that out. I love the play on words here. It says this bud's for you. Y'all remember those old Budweiser commercials? This bud's for you. So this is the editor's note. The editor's note says, how can I help you? A lovely saleswoman in West Hollywood recently asked me during my visit to a local weed shop. Bud tenders like her make an average of $14.90 an hour, and the turnover rate is 70% within the first 90 days of employment, according to recent research by Vankst. This is shocking considering a bud tender or flower host, wellness guide, cannabis consultant, or whatever you call them, is often the first person a cannabis consumer encounters in their purchasing journey. They're the ones asking questions, making recommendations, sharing their expertise. So why does this industry treat them like, well, bartenders without tips? The lack of support for decent, experienced bartenders is in a way ironic, considering that the industry is trying so hard to educate potential customers. Until we've really nailed the information piece, the green business will struggle to grow. Consider the magazine you hold in your hands our education issue. For starters, our list of the 25 best bud tenders calls out the true heroes of the business, those qualified experts on the front lines helping people make informed decisions every day. Then you dive into the vaping crisis. Everyone in the cannabis industry knows that the majority of illnesses and deaths are caused by black market products, many laced with cutting agents such as vitamin E acetate. But Joe and Joanna Public, oh, I get it, Joe Public, Joe and Joanna. But Joe and Joanna Public have no idea. They think it's a pot problem. And some of our media friends aren't helping with big headlines uh, blaming THC for the crisis. As frustrating as this is, it's also fixable. The best remedy for misinformation is real information and lots of it. You'll also find stories that help you understand the many facets of the green business, from starting a pet CBD brand to raising venture capital for your startup to learning the success secrets of a cannabis influencer. Now, I thought that was really interesting too. I think I flipped through this once before and it said something about pet CBD. So, CBD is known for different aches and pains and different conditions that people suffer from, but it's also good for pets. I did not know that. The editor continues or finishes up saying, no matter what you are in the green rush, deep into it, or just thinking about jumping in, you'll never lose by asking a customer, how can I help you? Signed, Jonathan Small. So that's the editor's note of the Green Entrepreneur. I'm not really sure what this particular strain is. I'm sure somebody in the comment section on the replay may or may not chime in to let me know. But yes, I did not even know they had those titles. So, butt tender, flower host, wellness guide, or cannabis consultant. Did you know about that? Let me know in the comment section if you already knew that, or if there are some other titles that they didn't mention here that you may know. All right, moving on. This looks, I don't know if this is a advertisement or not. You know, sometimes you think you're reading an article and then it will say at the top, this is a paid advertisement. Let's jump in and see. Branded content. Is that the same thing as advertisement? It's called Canna River. Canna River. That's the next one I'm going to read. This entrepreneur is making premium CBD affordable from source to sale. Why do good things have to cost so much? I ask myself that same question, especially when I'm shopping organic fruits and vegetables at Whole Foods. This question has fueled Grant Boatman's vision for a more affordable CBD space. The Canna River co-founder and seasoned entrepreneur brings one business model to every venture he pursues: offer people high-quality goods at the lowest prices possible, even if that means slashing his profits. There's an assumption about low margin, high volume business models. It's the idea that quality has to be inferior to high margin, low volume goods in order for you to be successful, says Boatman. It is exactly that thinking that makes consumers and manufacturers think they must choose between quality or their wallets. Boatman has spent the last 5 years building an enterprise on saving people money. He started out making e-liquid in his garage. With a vision and a $10,000 loan from his uncle, he turned his DIY setup into a multi-million-dollar company, River Supply Co. I think I've been successful because quality and low pricing have always been equal priorities for me. I never sacrificed one for the other. River Supply Co. now brings that same spirit to the CBD market with RVR CBD. That's the name right there. RVR CBD. That's what it looks like. Canna River. RVR CBD, which is a premium collection of low-priced raw CBD material, CBD solutions, dilutants, and oil-soluble flavors. People keep asking why it's so cheap. They can't believe it's lab-tested CBD from USA-grown hemp. That's how inflated the market is. Becoming a force as a CBD wholesaler is just the beginning for Boatman, who launched a B2C, which is business to consumer, brand Canna River in October. Who came in? Life of Key Cake Business. Just need to say, stay dedicated to it. Well, I thank you for chiming in. I appreciate that. I'm reading about all different types of businesses right now. I'm starting off with this. I don't know how much you read, or I don't know how much you listened in before you said hello. But right now, I'm jumping into the Green Entrepreneur, which is a spin-off of this magazine. This magazine has been around for a while, Entrepreneur Magazine, and of course, in a lot of states, marijuana and marijuana derived products like CBD have been legalized, and so we've got this magazine here for green growers, green entrepreneurs, and so I'm just diving in and catching up on some of my reading while I'm what do they call it? While I'm hashtag at home, catching up on some reading, some of my business reading. And this gentleman here has made $1 million business off of CBD. And he's talking about, sacrificing profits or quality. And he says he's able to do them both. Or not sacrifice, but keep them both. But yeah, let me know a little bit more about your cake business. What's keeping you from going ahead? Is it having a business plan? Is it having capital? Is it having a space to work or a space to sell or having a clientele? You and anybody watching on the replay, let me know what are you doing with your business plans, and in a perfect world, how would your business be set up? Let me know that. I'm going to keep reading from the Scanna River article here. It says becoming a force as a CBD wholesaler. Oh, what was I saying? B2C. B2C means a business to consumer. B2B means business that sells to another business. But this is a business to consumer brand. Scanna River is special to me because I believe in the benefits of CBD and I want it to be more accessible. Premium products are too pricey for many consumers, so they settle for snake oil or don't buy CBD as often as they like or need to. That's not okay. According to the CBD Awareness Project, CBD oil tinctures cost an average of 9 cents to 17 cents per milligram of CBD, with premium oils costing up to 20 cents or 30 cents per milligram. Scanna River's high potency tinctures have 1,000 milligrams or 2,500 milligrams or 5,000 milligrams are a fraction of the cost, and they are made with lab tested CBD oil from USA grown hemp. I think that right there is going to keep him successful and something that consumers would feel comfortable with, especially now with some unease with different products coming from foreign sources. I personally think more people are going to start to want to spend their money home base. If you live in the United States, you're probably going to want to have your things made here in your own country. Maybe if you're from the UK, you might feel more comfortable with the things processed there versus, in the past several decades, so many things have been outsourced because it's cheaper. But with different things going on in the world today, I just think people are probably going to want some homegrown items. And that's what he says. His CBD is from USA grown hemp. He also has organic MCT oil and natural terpenes and food grade flavoring. Don't know what that is. I do know what MCT oil because I've put that in my coffee before to make bulletproof coffee. Let's see. Meanwhile, Boatman also co-founded Terpene River, which sells USP grade non-GMO terpene isolates and blends. I don't know what that is, but if you want to let me know what that is in the comment section, feel free to do so. A lot of people consume CBD products for a better quality of life. I'm all in. I want to make premium more affordable from every side. As a supplier, manufacturer, and retailer, if more people can get the support they need without breaking the bank, I'll consider myself a success. We got some advertisements, and okay, let's go on to the next section. This next section is called Breaking In. These are some great ways to enter the cannabis industry. See those jumper cables? That's an interesting way to put a visual. There's some jumper cables hooked onto a very thick piece of plant. I don't know how YouTube likes to censor different things, so I'll just call it green plants from this point on, unless I have to specifically from the article. All right, breaking in. Chapter 1, breaking in. Talking about the Ricky Williams effect. Who is Ricky Williams? I think it's a sports person. Anybody knows who Ricky Williams is? Oh, looks like that's him right there. Well, I'll keep this picture up while I read. Talking about the Ricky Williams effect. Once a pariah of the NFL for leaving the league to smoke pot, he left the NFL to smoke pot. So what are you telling me? Like he got caught or something? It was in his system, and instead of giving it up, he left the NFL. Oh my goodness. Ricky Williams now looks way ahead of his time. Ricky Williams estimates that he lost between $5 million and $10 million in endorsements after he decided to leave the NFL to explore the world and cannabis. Now he's replenishing his coffers and his soul with his successful venture into the cannabis business. Williams, a Heisman Trophy winner who rushed for more than 10,000 yards during his 11-year career, has jumped onto the green rush with the same passion and skill, only this time he's healing, not punishing those who cross his path. His company, Real Wellness by Ricky Williams, which he co-founded with wife Linnea Mirren, specializes in blends of cannabis and other natural medicines. Products include tonics and topicals with blends of CBD, THC, turmeric, and white peony, among other ingredients. We met Williams at the Cannabis Dealmakers Summit in Dallas, where he explained why he really left the NFL and what his journey into the cannabis world has taught him about the business and himself. There's a question here from the magazine writer. It says, "When did you first try cannabis?" It was my senior year of college. I was in the running for the Heisman Trophy and I had just gone through a horrible breakup with my girlfriend, who started dating our quarterback. I was miserable. It was supposed to be the happiest time of my life. And my roommate was like, "You need to chill." He passed me a joint and I remember that was the first decent night of sleep I had. I wasn't obsessing over my ex and the quarterback. Fast forward to the NFL, and I'm in New Orleans. I break ribs, and I'm going through a whole bunch of difficult things. And again, a roommate was like, "You need to chill." And he passed me a joint. That became a part of my ritual to help me get up in the morning and get ready to go into battle because that's what playing professional football is. I wasn't allowed to smoke while playing in the NFL, but I still did. And I ended up getting in a little bit of trouble. I was pretty much a pariah, and I was torn apart in the media, but in my heart I felt like there's something here. What was the reason you retired from the NFL the first time in 2004? Part of the reason was because of the NFL's stance on cannabis, and part of it was because I was using cannabis and realizing that there are other things out there than just football. I was more than willing to say, okay, maybe I want to go pursue something different. When the story first broke, it was just football player in the height of his career walks away. My best friend at the time was Dan LeBatard. He has a show on ESPN right now, but he was writing for the Miami Herald at the time. 3 weeks after I retired, we're talking on the phone, and I let him know that before I retired, I failed a drug test that no one knew about. And it put him in a difficult spot between being a best friend and a member of the media. He started freaking out, saying, "I have to report this." I was like, "What are you talking about? I just shared as a friend." And I woke up the next morning, and that's when the myth of Ricky Williams and cannabis began. That's deep. That's really messed up. You're best friends with a journalist, and you confide in them, and they just basically tell all your business. That's messed up. Okay, let me read on. It was at that moment I decided I'm not going to run away from this. This is who I am. And I think I was smart enough to get out of Dodge and hop on the first plane to Australia. I started meeting people who didn't know I was a football player. And for the first time in my life, I began to get this reflection of who I was. It had nothing to do with football, and it woke me up to myself. As I'm traveling around the world, everywhere I went, somehow someone would walk up to me and offer me a joint without knowing who I was or anything about me. And it just spurred me on to keep doing study and research and understanding what is this plant and why do I have this awkward, weird relationship with it. And pursuing that path, I believed in what I was doing more. Being away from football, I realized that underneath the helmet, I was actually a healer. I had a gift for helping people feel better. I realized I needed to find another skill set other than being a football player. I started studying alternative medicine, beginning with Ayurveda. What that opened up to me is the realization that in India and China, they've used herbs to treat people for more than 3,000 years. So I began to acquire some information about herbs. At that time, I was dealing with a lot of injuries and I started experimenting. I would come home with bags full of herbs, get my books out, get in the kitchen, and start to formulate. And I came up with some really cool stuff I used for myself when I came back to the NFL and played several more years. So that's just a little bit more on that article there. Anybody who's interested in reading about Mr. Ricky Williams and his CBD career, change of career, you can go ahead and pick up this article of Green Entrepreneur. I'm going to read ahead and see what else we got going on here. Here's another article here by Ross O'Brien. I'm going to wet my whistle and then I'll dive back in. Drinking soda on a live stream is probably not a good idea. It's probably going to make me very burpy, but I'll try to keep it together. Now that's not something you see every day. We got a man in a business suit, and his like men like to wear special cufflinks or special pins on their lapel. Look at his lapel. Let's see if you can get that in there. He got a cannabis leaf on his lapel, so it's still business. All right, let's see what this article is talking about. It's called Raise Up. Raise Up. For cannabis companies seeking venture capital, these 5 R's are essential. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 R's. The letter R. Raising capital is one of the most complex, frustrating, and time-consuming challenges facing founders in any industry. It is also one of the most critical functions of a high-performing leadership team, made even more challenging given the complicated and dynamic regulatory considerations in the cannabis industry. There is no one guaranteed way to succeed in soliciting investment. But after doing private transactions for more than a decade, I found that success is in part a result of a cohesive strategy and a sustained, multifaceted approach that can be summarized with the following 5 principles. The first one is relationships. Relationships. Investing in private companies comes down to the people involved. And the ideal situation would be that you have a group of investors with whom you are a known person with a track record of success. Although this is one of the things that takes time to develop, we all have to start somewhere. Expanding your network should be a constant activity, and you should always be ready to ask anyone you meet if they are an investor or know an investor to whom they can introduce you. Now, lately, I've been doing a lot of networking myself, of course, not with the purpose of getting money, just to get followers and also sharing my dreams of entrepreneurship with other people and just really trying to build a network of people that I can work with. And I've met quite a few, not a whole lot, but more than I thought. People who were in business, who either did something with audio visual, t-shirt making, photography, things like that. So I definitely understand that, and I definitely would stand behind that one. Building your relationships with whatever type of business that you want is essential. If you are a cake business person like Life of Key, I would talk about cake business with everybody. Not everybody else that you talk to is going to be in the cake business, but you might meet somebody who's into the wholesale foods. Like we've got a couple here in my area. There are 2 restaurant depot places where you can get as long as you have your business certificate, you can go in there and you can get food at discounted prices because they know you're probably going to buy large quantities of food. You can buy chef grade cooking materials, appliances, things like that. And it's not open to the public, but I'm just saying, like, the more you talk, You might meet somebody who's a wholesaler. You might meet someone who has their own trucking business and maybe they can do deliveries for you. You might find somebody who's a photographer and they can do professional photos for your food. So talk about yourself. Not to be arrogant, not to be obnoxious, but just talk about it in a casual way, a casual but professional way, and you never know who you will meet. You can build up relationships, you exchange business cards, and yeah, that's how you build your network. Let me finish reading this part here on relationships. It says cultivating these key relationships on a sustained basis, you keep doing it, will have a direct correlation to your success in raising capital. So when you do need money, then it might not be so awkward because you've already built up this relationship. Now, if you just meet people for the first time and, hey, I got this business idea, can I get some money for you? That would be awkward for both parties. But if you've built up this relationship and you've never asked them for anything in the past, and you're just networking and keeping up with them and maintaining that relationship, if and when you do need money, I think they'll be more likely to help you out because it's more of a relationship, a personal relationship. It says here, that's just what I'm just jumping into what I was going to say. And remember, it is not always about the ask. So seek authentic ways to deepen your relationships over time. I didn't even read that. That's what I was saying. As the saying goes, ask for money and you get advice. Ask for advice and you get money. I never heard of that before. You should be activating your entire network of business relationships from the moment you start planning your pitch. Ask attorneys, accountants, and other service providers if they know any cannabis investors who may be interested in your story. Many law firms and accountants are making early inroads in cannabis and are developing a lot of strategic relationships. There are contact lists that you can access of a list of investors, and most venture capital investors will be easily searchable online. Seeking out the emerging group of accelerators and incubators is a good way to find investors in your region. If you're making a new relationship and reaching out to an investor for the first time, you may be sending it as an email as the first point of contact. When doing this, it's best to spend a lot of time drafting a standard email. Are you being concise and clear? Are you giving enough information so the recipient can take action? Don't send an email that says something to the effect of, please let me know how to apply or submit for funding. It's redundant to say that you're looking for funding, and that approach does nothing more than create more work for the investor. Anytime you're asking someone to do something for you, that's adding items to their to do list, not advancing your cause. Remember that investors are, by default, looking to find a way to say no as quickly as possible. Asking them to do the work for you is the quickest way to get passed over. And there's a little bit more here on the relationship part, but I'm going to jump ahead to relevance. That's the second R. From the investor's perspective, are you presenting something that is relevant to their world view? In other words, do you know what type of companies they invest in, how much they invest, and what other portfolio investments they have? All too often, investors are presented deals that they are clearly not a fit for. You wouldn't present a healthcare investment to a real estate fund, so you must do your homework and know that your opportunity fits the investment parameters of the investor. The only way to learn this is to research and have a targeted, thoughtful approach to your investor outreach. For a company to be a relevant investment opportunity, all the proverbial stars need to be in alignment. If any of the parameters are misaligned, the potential for securing an investment decreases exponentially. There's a little bit more here in the relevance area, but I'm going to jump ahead to resilience. That is the third R. Raising capital requires thick skin. A balance between adapting and learning and the ability to stay committed to your core principles and strategy. For example, I heard of an entrepreneur who celebrated each decline she received because she knew she would move on to the next investor who may say yes. Resilience was a core value for her, as it should be for you. Always listen and take into consideration how an investor explains why they won't invest. There is much to learn from that kind of feedback. So whenever somebody tells you no, ask them why, not so you can keep going back at them, but so for the next time, for the next opportunity, for the next investor, you can be prepared and hopefully avoid that turn down. After each decline, you should debrief with your team to help you improve on the process you are running and the offering and presentation materials. If there are core business deficiencies, you may need to stop raising capital and revisit your business plan. On the other hand, success also requires being able to take an almost unlimited amount of rejection and not waver from your core business thesis. Be prepared for a lot of rejection and resilience in this process. It is much about learning and adaptation as it is to staying committed on raising capital until you succeed. So, for anybody who has not watched my I would say awkward, but it wasn't awkward. It was actually kind of fun. It may be awkward for y'all to watch, but anybody who had watched the video where I was sitting outside my mall and I was handing out my business cards and I had on my little paper sandwich board saying, "Hey, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hey, you want to check out my YouTube? Hey." And as you can see from that video, a lot of people said no. A lot of people didn't give me the time of day. A lot of people avoided eye contact. A lot of people grabbed their children closer to them as if I was going to snatch them up and take them away. But my point is, there was a lot of rejection. There was a lot of rejection. And what I found is the first couple times, not when I was at the mall, but before when I was sharing my channel with some of my coworkers, the first couple times, the first couple days, even the first couple weeks was very uncomfortable. I got my feelings hurt. I cried, I think like one time because it was somebody that I thought would really support me and have my back, but they didn't. But then the more I got the rejection, like the more it didn't even bother me. It didn't even affect me. It was like, oh, okay, next. Oh, okay, next. So that resilience, I definitely, you have to get used to the idea that people are going to say no. Will you buy this thing? No. Will you support me in this way? No. Will you give me money? No. Will you check out my channel? Will you check out my cakes? Will you check out my business? Will you check out my, no, no, no. And then you take that and you just like, okay, and you just keep going. You guys saw how I was smiling in that video, right? Like it really didn't bother me. It was just I was just happy to be there. I really was. But that only comes with practice. Let's see, talking about a little bit more about resilience. Be prepared for a lot of rejection and resilience in this process. It is as much about learning and adaptation as it is committing to keep on raising capital until you succeed. I'm going to jump ahead to right, the right ask. So that should have been three? Three, okay. So we had relationships, we had relevance, we had resilience, and now this is called right ask. Right ask. So you can see what I'm talking about. The right ask. Many times, entrepreneurs spend an unnecessary amount of time, an unnecessary amount of effort negotiating with themselves to concoct a transaction structure or an investment terms. In the spirit of selling an investment into the market, many entrepreneurs will try to come up with creative structures and think they are preempting key hurdles that investors need to overcome. This also goes for the amount of capital that they are raising. It should be based on the needs of the business, and if that need is $5 million, but the investors you are pitching to only invest a minimum of $10 million in any transaction, you unfortunately don't fit their criteria. If the investors you are pitching only invest in control or major ownership, which means the only way they're going to give you money is if they own a part of your business. If the investors you are pitching only invest in control or majority ownership and you're only willing to sell a minority stake in your company, then the probability that there is an investment between the two of you is very unlikely. With a well thought out ask and research on the investor you are contracting, you can identify for yourself whether the ask is aligned. And then the final R is returns. Investors have the ability to allocate capital that they influence over control over that they are making investments for the sole purpose of generating a return. So if you're asking somebody for money, they want to make sure they get something out of it. What is the returns? What type of profits are you going to be generating? Capital is a resource. So their money that you want to get, capital, is a resource. And investors are in the business of allocating that resource to generate a desired profit. Just like any resource, Capital can be allocated in all kinds of strategies, so the decision investors make is based on comparing the probability of generating a return, how much risk is involved, and how great the return will be. Your exit strategy and the structure you are prepared to present should align with their investment approach. You should know that because you have done your homework and researched each investor before presenting to them. So I'm going to go on to the next article in just a little bit. Let me check in with my chat, and also I'll probably take an opportunity to share this out on one platform that I think I may have forgot that may bring in some more questionnaires and people that can offer some more insight into the chat. I'm going to put it on my personal Facebook, and I'm going to put it on a group Facebook that I'm a part of. And I'm also going to drink some water. I've only got my big jug here, so don't judge me, you guys. I didn't want to go out of the room and get a cup, and no one else is drinking from this, so don't judge me. My personal jug. My personal jug. All right. All right. So this article is called, "So, what do you do for a living?" Now, how do you answer that when your business choice, your personal business is selling or dealing in the world of marijuana? How do you answer that question in a professional way? Okay, so what do you do for a living? This article is written by Nicole Pager, and it says here, in the canna biz, when a stranger asks about your line of work, the answer can be a little awkward. You race from work to catch your kid's soccer game, grab a spot on the bleachers as you catch your breath, and the mother next to you asks, "So, what do you do?" The cannabis industry is a booming, legitimate industry with an estimated 340,000 legal jobs, according to New Frontier data. But for many outside the business, it still registers a word cloud of negativity. Turn this around so you can see. Let's see. For many, it still registers a word cloud of negativity. Shady, druggy, irresponsible, and criminal are words that are usually associated with this business. So, how do you explain what you do for a living when you're not quite sure how the other person will react? We asked a few seasoned cannabis execs how they handle it. First things first, be direct. I say I'm in the weed business. Then, after the shock value wears off, I can go into one of several explanations: the benefits of cannabis, those who benefit the most from it, or why it was illegal in the first place, and what kind of people have been most negatively impacted by the laws. It is a point of identity and pride for me to be able to try to form the cannabis conservation into a positive one. I feel like an ambassador for a cause worth fighting for. And that is coming from Ron Silver, who is the founder and chief creative officer of Azuka. Also, flip the script. I usually turn the tables and ask the person if they've ever smoked pot. That question alone will normally level the playing field, especially if we're in a social setting. Most of the time, it carries on with a laugh and some storytelling. If it is going poorly, I bring the conversation forward to compare cannabis to alcohol or cigarettes and make the point that cannabis is actually safer than both of them, and that overall legalization is about freedom. Touching specifically on freedoms is something that resonates with most people, especially with the conservative crowd, which I've noticed has become increasingly receptive to cannabis legalization. And that is from Chase Nobles, who is the co-founder and co-CEO of Kush.com. Number three, ease in. My initial answer usually varies depending on the person asking the question. If it's more a conservative seeming person, I will usually answer with, I own my own business. At this point, most people will ask, oh yeah, what business are you in? I have owned a clothing company, Satori Wellness, for 20 years and work in wholesale distribution, so I usually throw that out first, saying, I've made hemp clothing for decades that's sold around the world. And of course, hemp comes from the marijuana plant, but it doesn't have any THC, it's just a byproduct of it. Beyond the Game is in the house. Hi, how you doing today? Quick question, just like the title says. I don't know how long you can stay with me, but quick question, Beyond. If you could have your own business, what would it be? In the perfect world, with the perfect settings, everything just the way you want it to be, what would your business be? That's pretty much the big topic of the day. And in the meantime, I am reading some business related magazines, starting off with this green entrepreneur talking about the cannabis world and other CBD related products. And I've got some other magazines. So, yes, let me know, what would your business be? What's stopping you from doing it right now, whether it's because you're doing something else, or you don't have the capital, or you don't have the networking, and what would it take for your business to take off? That is the topic of today while I'm hashtag at home reading magazines. And right now, this particular article that I'm reading is, if you are in the cannabis business and people ask you, what do you do for a living? Ways that you can answer it in a professional manner. Vaccines for, got you. And thank you for abbreviating it, because if you probably already know right now that particular word or phrase is a hot topic. It's a buzzword, and a lot of people are not using it. So I appreciate you not using the whole word. Thank you so much. Uh, Not smart enough? Oh, come on. You are a highly intelligent and highly creative person. Intelligence comes in lots of different ways. Some people are intelligent with their speech. Some people are intelligent with their creativity. Some people are intelligent with their social skills, which those you definitely have. Some people have their intelligence with inventing things and spatial relations and mathematics. There's lots of different intelligence, and you are no dummy. They actually made it okay to use. Um, in your state, I know you're not in Texas, right? You're not in Texas because this particular product industry, we can't do that here. You can do it in Colorado, and I think somewhere else next door to me, either next door or north of me. But we can't do this as a business. But I don't know if that would apply online. I don't know if it would be able to do it online. They actually made it okay to use, but you need a big brain. There's different sections of the brain. Like I said, there's IQ, which is intellectual quotient. There's EQ, which is emotional quotient. There's SQs, which is social quotients. There's lots of different ways to be intelligent. But you said that would be your business. Well, okay, once that's done, what would be your overall business? I think, or I would have thought, yours would be more music related. I think something in the music industry. I mean, YouTube president made, oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay, they made that word easy to use. I was in Pusa Studios yesterday or earlier today, and they said it's something that people are still tiptoeing around. It's kind of like there's a gray area because some people are abusing it and misusing it, and then a lot of people are kind of really sensitive to it, and so they want to make sure people are not being triggered or that it's not being used properly. And then I heard that some people their live streams were being either repressed or their videos were kind of getting pushed down. So I was just erring on the side of caution, and just like I put it on my list. I put it in my Nightbox, even though he never shows up. I put it on my Nightbox list of banned words for the moment. I have to check that out. So, in other, even besides the vaccine, I would have thought that your entrepreneurship journey would have been somewhere music related, like a producer or some type of designer, or I don't know, something like that. But maybe I'm wrong. I understand because it's a sensitive topic. Yeah, tell me about it. I'm like, I'm all tapped out. Like everywhere I go, I'm seeing it. I'm just like, just click off, just click off. I just don't want to see it anymore. I want to be informed, but it's like, it's too much. It's in my email box. It's in my regular box. It's on all these websites that I'm going to. I'm like, I just want to download a movie from Google Play. I just want to chill out, and it's on there. I'm like, man, can't get away, can't get away. The president indeed wrote us a letter saying that he had lifted the ban. See, I haven't checked into my creator studio yet either. I probably should check my dashboard after this. Movie studio. See, I knew it. I said when I seen you pop up, I said, oh, I know what he's gonna do. Movie studio. Hey, I told you I do voice acting, so when you make it pop off, put me on the list, please. Put me on the audition list. If I could have my own, don't laugh at me, y'all. Don't laugh at me. But when I was little, and even when I wasn't little, I was like, when I grow up, I want to be on Sesame Street. Like that was my goal. That was my goal. Even into my teens, I was like, when I grow up, I want to be on Sesame Street. So something dealing with acting, something dealing with media, but also dealing with children. Like if I could have been a puppet, one of those puppeteers, that would have been like a dream come true for me. Because like I just feel like that inner Muppet in me has never gone away. Anyways, that would be my that would be my business would be something related to acting or voice acting or something helping with children in a Sesame Street kind of way. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I'm over talking and overthinking about it. I agree and gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Other than that, don't know how long you can stick around or hang out, but I appreciate you joining me for whatever time you're here. I'm just going through my magazines, my got this one. This is Entrepreneur. Like I said, this is Green Entrepreneur. This is specifically talking about the marijuana and CBD industry. I got some the Journal Network talking about the 40 under 40. You know, I like that's my favorite number. 40 under 40. So these are some successful business execs um, that are under the age of 40. Got some women related business things, and I mentioned this one already. This is the head of General Motors, another woman in leadership. And if I don't get it to it today, I'll probably bring this one out another time, or probably will make a pre-recorded one about taxes, because it's just about that time. So yeah, I'm catching up on my reading, and I'm trying to ease back into getting more business related videos out here because I've been getting kind of personal, which I don't like. I don't mind sharing myself with you guys, but I want to start living up to my name again. My living up to my actual name. When I share my channel, people are like, "Oh, what's your channel about?" And then they see stuff on there about Vlogmas, and it gets kind of awkward. Like, gotta stay consistent. You know what I mean? I'm about to take a nap. Oh, because your head hurts. Oh, I do not like headaches. Too much. Yeah, exactly. It's overwhelmed. That's why I'm just chilling. I'm chilling. Thank you so much, brother Beyond. I appreciate it. Enjoy your nap. Relax. Deep breath. Do what you gotta do. Maybe something will help. You know, they've talked about like many of the health benefits. But yeah. Hey, send somebody over here if you can. If not, I'm gonna keep reading, and for those who want to catch me on the replay, we can talk about the joint effect, the joint efforts. I love the play on words here. I love the play on words, joint effort. All right, let me jump into this next article. This next article is by Nicole Pager. It's talking about the brothers behind Bensky shares tips for working with a family member. Now, how many of you who have ever had a business or tried to have a business have tried to make it with a family member? Sometimes that can be very difficult. Sometimes family members are a little too casual and not so professional, and there's lots of benefits, but there's lots of downfalls too. And so stay blessed. Thank you so much, Beyonce. Stay blessed. Hope your headache goes away really quickly. I hate headaches. This one talks about working with your family. This article may be in general or it may be for the business, but let's find out. Jake and Alex Pasternak Grew up sneaking out to smoke doobies. What is this word? Dubinsky? I've never heard of that. I've heard of a lot of slang words for it. I heard of a doobie, and I've heard of I don't even know what this word is. Look at this word here, you guys. They snuck out to they snuck out to smoke Dubinsky. Dubinsky. I don't know. Maybe that's particular to the where they grew up, but okay. Now as adults, they are sharing their brotherly love in what's to become the fastest growing legal marijuana brand in America. It's called, for old time's sake, Binsky. Oh, okay, silent E, Binsk. Dubinsk. Okay, I've still never heard of that. Jake, a product and brand specialist for production studios, founded the company in 2015, and two years later, he brought Alex, who worked in business development and is now an executive vice president. That is one thing that I have noticed. Why am I buffering when I have a solid line? That's so weird. One thing that I've noticed when I'm reading any entrepreneurship article, or even some of the people that I followed on YouTube who have done phenomenal starting off with their entrepreneurship, they all have a business background. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. There are very few people that I've seen that have started some type of business success working for themselves that didn't have a business background. I say that to say it's not that you can't be a successful business person without the background, but I don't think I did as much research when I started my efforts. I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos seeing people that had all this great success. Like I sold so many items and made $3,000 in a week, or I made $10,000 in a month, and I made $1 million in 6 months. And some of that might be real, some of them might not be. But the ones who are really doing sustained business, long term business, they have some type of business background. These two brothers are in the cannabis industry, but it says right here one had a background in a production studios, and the other one had the background in business development. I think that though that's a great combination. While Jake handles finances and strategy, Alex focuses on growth opportunities, and together they seem to be winning. This year they closed licensing deals with MaryMed in the US and Aurora in Canada, which will put Binsk's luxury cannabis products, including flower, vapes, topicals, and edibles, into more than 1,000 retail locations. I didn't even know there was a such thing as luxury CBD or luxury cannabis. I didn't know that. Working with a family member does have its challenges, and here's how these brothers have figured it out. Think before you disagree. It's very easy to fall into the habit of addressing Jake the way I would at home, says Alex, but I've learned to hold my tongue until the appropriate time when I know he will be most receptive to what I need to say. That doesn't mean I won't disagree with him in a meeting like I would at any other company, but it means selecting when it's best to address an issue in front of the team versus one on one. For those moments, I work with Jake to find a time that we can talk alone together when he can concentrate. Although we speak multiple times a day about ongoing stuff, we also have structured weekly reoccurring calls, which helps with this. I can definitely feel that. I can definitely feel that. Um, I think when you're around your family, it's so easy to be comfortable. And like, this is your brother or your sister or your cousin who you've known your whole life. And so you just kind of get so comfortable when you take license with saying some things or doing something which may not be professional. And then they have a team working with them too. So he has to bite his tongue and treat his brother as if, they're both professionals and not like their brothers. I can understand that. The second part here, it says give kudos like you would to any other employee. This company would never be where it is without Alex, says Jake. He has the best insight, understands the trends, has tried every competitive product, and connects with our buyers every single day. I make sure to tell him so he knows that while he's my brother and I love him, that his work is absolutely vital to the long term success of the company. I hear that. Give props where props are due. Let people know when you appreciate them. The third part is called be in touch. When it comes to big picture plans, we're always in the loop on what the other has planned. That means talking to each other via calls, texts, emails, and direct messages throughout the day. And we use signals too. For example, after numerous missed calls in a row, that's hey, I need you to call me right now. Whereas a normal missed call is call me when you can. The fourth part is get the whole family comfortable with flexibility. In a hyper growth industry, something unexpected will always come up last minute. My family and I were recently off hiking on this amazing trail filled with waterfalls. My 2 year old was playing in the water with our dog, and my wife was feeding our newborn. Suddenly, my alarm went off that I had a conference call in 30 minutes. We were in the middle of nowhere without a single bar of cell reception. My wife somehow hiked more than 2 miles while feeding our newborn. We jumped into our car and drove until I found a signal, and I hopped out and I did my call in the lush forest. We always joke that the ultimate goal is to get to a point where I don't have a cell phone anymore and Alex takes all the calls, but that might be a little while. So I think the wife was very understanding in that situation. When you have a family business, you're never off the clock. I mean, you should have time scheduled for business versus personal, but the wife was very flexible. That's why they said right there, get the whole family comfortable with being flexible. And then the final point with working with family members is enjoy the opportunity. If you had told me that one day my favorite smoking buddy and I were going to be building the largest cannabis brand in the world together, I would have thought, man, you've been smoking too much, Jake says. But all jokes aside, it's about my brother. It's also really important to celebrate those micro moments and remember to stop and smell the roses, or in our case, the buds. So that's some tips right there on working with family members. Of course, they're talking about their cannabis business, but I think that can be applied to any small business or working with any family members. Let me read those headlines again. Think before you disagree. Give kudos. Give proper respect. Be in touch, communicating. Get the whole family comfortable with being flexible, and then enjoy the opportunity. Now, this one is interesting here. I'm going to read a little bit with this pet related one, and then I'm going to go on to one of these other magazines. Have you heard of CBD being used for pets? If so, let me know what company or what products or what animals are being helped with this. This is called Pet CBD Unleashed. Cannabis's new customers may have 4 legs, but the market for them takes some savvy to navigate. And this is another article by Nicole Pager. Like adorable puppies in a store window, the booming industry of CBD for pets is hard to resist. Sales within the sector quadrupled in 2018, going from $8 million in 2017 to $32 million just a year later. Holy cow. According to the cannabis research firm Brightfield Group, by 2022, it predicts the market could reach $1.16 billion. But despite the bark fest, making a profit in the space is no surefire bet. We caught up with a few founders and executives on the ground for guidance. So the first point is that pets are not people. Willie Nelson is one of the most notable names to enter the green pet rush. But it happened by accident. The musician slash advocate co-founder GCH, an IP development company that launched the cannabis brand Willie's Reserve in 2015. As the company released its hemp-infused tinctures, it was surprised to hear from people asking whether they could use hemp for animals. From the moment we launched, Willie was getting that question. So Hogan and Nelson decided to start a pet-centric CBD. Oh, let's see. Elizabeth Hogan is the VP of that brand. Hogan and Nelson decided to start a pet-centric CBD line, but they quickly realized you can't just dump hemp oil in a dog biscuit. They are completely different considerations when it comes to animals. Hogan says Hogan, including dosing, product type, and delivery methods. For example, they switched from using full spectrum hemp to broad spectrum, where all the THC has been removed because the compound can be poisonous to dogs and cats, sometimes fatally. The new brand, Willie's Rescue, launched in August and plans to have products in stores in early 2020. The second part of this article says the science is still iffy. What can CBD actually do for dogs, cats, and horses? As with CBD for humans, the research is scant. The country's top veterinary schools are beginning to do studies, but so far they're small, and questions about safety, efficacy, dosage, and interactions with medications remain. Having said that, CBD has shown promise for two conditions in canines: joint pains and seizures. A study done through Cornell University Hospital for Animals on 22 dogs with osteoarthritis showed that 2 milligrams of CBD oil twice daily can help increase comfort and activity. For pups with epilepsy, on a regular drug protocol, research at Colorado State University Veterinary Teaching Hospital on 26 dogs showed the frequency of seizures decreased in 33% of the animals who took CBD oil, although the placebo group also responded to treatment. The author, Stephanie McGrath, is embarking on further trials to find out more. I know that part wasn't supposed to be funny, but it was funny. Let's see, the experts are not easy to get. Considering that this is an evolving science, it's a good idea to connect with experts, but it can be easier said than done. A majority of veterinarians will not discuss CBD. That's because in the midst of changing laws and regulations that can affect the entire industry, vets in most places could technically get in trouble and even risk losing their licenses for discussing CBD. Wow. Wow. California is the only state that has passed a law making it explicitly legal for licensed vets to discuss cannabis for medical use with patients. Going on to the next part, talk about regulations. And let me hit this last part. It says your brand should tell a story. Every day the competition heats up for pet CBD brands. So sourcing top quality hemp oils, rigorously testing, and providing customers access to lab results are important, says Juliana Corella, founder of CEO Treatables, which sells capsules, chews, and other products for animals. You should also provide excellent customer service and have endorsements from respected pet professionals, including vets and behaviorists. So I'll leave the rest of that article for you guys to check out. Let me check in with my live stream here. Thank you for the 3 likes for those hanging out with me as I'm reading my magazines at home. I'm doing remarkably well, seeing as that I've drank half of this ginger ale and I haven't burped once that you can hear. All right. Now, this next one is talking about introducing weed wallpaper. Weed wallpaper. It says companies have helped us smoke, eat, drink, and apply cannabis. But one clever entrepreneur is giving enthusiasts a new way to enjoy the plant on the dining room wall. In 2003, John Sherman was living in New Orleans and had an MBA from Tulane University when he stumbled into a career. He'd come across an abandoned wallpaper company and decided to rebuild it from the ground up to launch Flavor Paper. Now based in Brooklyn, his company creates off-the-wall designs for on-the-wall art. Gorillas on holographic mylar, Warhol-inspired blue Elvises, full-scale nature murals, just to give you an idea. Back in 2007, Sherman commissioned the first of Flavor Paper's scratch and sniff wallpapers, one of which is part of the permanent collection as a Cooper Hewitt arm of the Smithsonian. We'd always thought it was going to be kind of a joke, he says, but it ended up becoming a thing. As the team tinkered with aromas like cherry, banana, and citrus, another scent started hanging out in the back of Sherman's mind. I thought it would be an amazing thing to do a cannabis wallpaper. Does it smell like pot? The first step took longer than Sherman ever expected. Getting that dank, sweet smell right was a stumper. Aroma Release, the company that had developed the other wallpaper scents, went to work using all kinds of compounds, including fake terpenes, but every sample it sent to Sherman rejected. Um, we worked on it solidly for about 8 years and tried everything we could think of to get close. That is a long time to work on one single project. Working on this idea for 8 years? Whoa. Wow, wow, wow. Talk about not giving up. I really feel like I drank too much soda. Make sure I'm moving around too much stuff. All right. Thank you, Bucky's 2.0. Great reading. Um, maybe you see it and maybe you don't. The flavor paper team immediately got to work on the design. Again, it was a challenge. All along, they figured they'd use photographs of farms and plants and create something wacky like Alice in Wonderland meets the forest of weed. But the images didn't invite the scratch and sniff concept. So Sherman came up with another approach, a traditional damask pattern, which is what we have here, that damask pattern, with elements of cannabis plant woven in that you probably wouldn't notice if you just walked in the room, but once you're up close would provide a moment of discovery that might be a little bit more tongue-in-cheek. The scratch and sniff would be sort of a punchline. Now, I looked at this, but I didn't really notice it. Still don't notice it. Do you see that in the pattern? This is the damask pattern, but as far as I can see, I don't see any cannabis. Or is it just the cut of the leaves? Or the number of the leaves? Anyways, if you get this particular issue, like I said, is the winter issue of Green Entrepreneur for 2019, and it says it's going to be on display until March 9th. It was still on my retailer's rack about 2 weeks ago, so they may have changed. Let's see what else we got. Tips, trends, and insights. I'm gonna read one more article from Green Entrepreneur, and then I'm going to move on to the other entrepreneur. Make sure I'm not missing any phone calls or anything. I wonder if any of my friends are going live right now. I can never catch my friends coming in. I had Beyond come in, but none of my other friends are coming in. They just may be busy. Yeah, I don't see anybody else on live right now. All right. This one is chapter 2. It's called What You Need to Grow. So, the product or your business? Or is that the same thing? Tips, trends, and insights. Tips, trends, and insights. What you need to know to grow. And other articles in here are called El Presidente, why the former president of Mexico, Vicente Fox, is all in on cannabis. Let me see, on page 32, we got Table for Tokes. Take a seat at the country's first cannabis cafe in Los Angeles. Let's see, on page 40, we got Behind the Box. Two veterans of product design and branding launched their own products. On page 44, we got Female Power. 3 women who are making a big difference in the cannabis business. Page 48, you shouldn't have. Behold, our first ever guide to the best in THC and CBD holiday gifts. Page 50, consistent hits. Consumers want predictable dosing, and this is how Dosis does it. And on page 54, bad high. How cannabis's black market is hurting the future of legal weed. You know what? I think I actually want to jump ahead to these gifts. I want to see what types of gifts people are getting. And then I'll go on to one of the other articles, one of the other magazines. Holidays are better in platinum. That's what it says here. Or is that just an advertisement? I think that's just an advertisement. Okay, the 12 days of Canna gifts. The 12 days of Canna gifts. So these are ideas that people have come up with in products to sell. 'Tis the season to be like really jolly. Here are some stocking stuffers for CBD and THC enthusiasts alike. The North Pole might not be in a legal state yet, but that shouldn't stop you from gifting weed for the holidays. With diverse and high quality products that are packaged and marketed in sophisticated ways, cannabis is no longer solely within the purview of your stoner cousin. It's for everyone. To help you sort through the plethora of brands out there, we present you with this curated list of recommendations for that special person in your life. So the first thing is called Platinum, which is that advertisement I showed you on the other page, by React Vapes. The holidays are all about helping out the less fortunate. In that spirit, a portion of the proceeds of the React line of vape cartridges is donated to a variety of charities focusing on social issues including suicide prevention, veteran support, world hunger, animal rescue, breast cancer awareness, and pediatric medical care. A sip of eggnog to that. And you can find their gifts at houseofplatinum.com. Houseofplatinum.com. The next gift is for the stressed out person in your life. That other person was for the do-gooder. For the stressed out, you can get them something from CBD Essential Oil Blend. Let's see, Sagely Naturals. Sagely is one of the most trusted brands in the CBD space. It's also a great entrepreneurial success story. The founders used to sell their formulas from a garage. Now the products are on the shelves of CVS. The gift pack contains Drift and Dream for the sleep challenge and relief and recovery for the aches and painer. And you can find their products at sagelynaturalproducts.com. Sagelynaturalproducts.com. The next gift is called Bebo in partnership with Defense. These are cannabis infused chocolates for the sweets lover. Luxury brand Bebo was dubbed the Hermes of marijuana by the New York Times. It recently collaborated with gourmet chocolatier Defense to bring you dark chocolate squares. They contain cocoa beans from Belgium and cannabis from the US. And you can find those gifts at bebo.com. This is the first one. The vapes. And let's see. And then the chocolates. All right, let's move on to the next set of gifts. For the Zen Master, we have candles. Jonathan Adler. Further evidence that cannabis has gone mainstream, Jonathan Adler, designer to the stars, created a soy paraffin blend candle. It promises a cleaner burn and stronger scent reach and averages about 40 hours of burn time. Once the candle burns out, its porcelain holder makes a good stash box. You can find that gift at jonathanadler.com. See, for the dog walker, you have Sunday pre-rolls. Sunday pre-rolls. Sunday Goods grows some of the best flower in the U.S. Its 7-pack tins of half-gram pre-roll joints are the perfect size for a leisurely jaunt with the dog. Not too big, not too small. The pre-rolls come in a variety of single strains designed for certain mood states, including spark for focus, delight for smiles, and rest for chilling out. And you can find those at sundaygoods.com. Let's see, for the flower child, we've got Devils Johnson Forbidden Flowers. Former Disney star Bella Thorne is all grown up and has a delicious new cannabis strain to prove it. Working closely with renowned cultivator Glasshouse Farms, Thorne has helped develop a proprietary indica blend that helps you decompress after a hectic day at work. Rose isn't the only flower that has its thorn, and you can find those gifts at forbiddenflowers.com. Those are some of those items there. All right, so that's what I've got from Green Entrepreneur. I am going to catch up with some of my other magazines now. And if you are just now getting here, welcome, welcome. It's me, Kenya. I am chilling at home, catching up on some of my magazine reading and diving into some of my business related magazines. Some of these I have featured on previous videos, specifically on my International Women's Day celebration earlier in March. And today I'm just catching up and hanging out with some of my YouTube friends and going over some of the magazines. The question in the title is, if you could have your own business, what would it be? You can let me know that in the live chat, or you can also let me know on the replay. If you could have your own business, what would it be? If you have your own business now, please share with me. What do you do? Is the current state right now being affected by it? Are you actually flourishing because of the current state? Is your business recession proof? I've been looking up some articles lately on making a recession proof business plan or recession proof businesses. And actually, I think I may have a website still pulled up from what I was looking up. These are some recession proof industries. Let me know if you work for yourself. Are you in one of these industries or not? And if so, how the current state of affairs is affecting your industry. Recession proof industries are things like food and beverage. It says here, this is coming from Franchise Business Review. It says here, no matter the state of the economy, people must eat. There's also retail consignment. When cash flow is weak, people typically don't buy new furniture, books, or clothes. That's a no-brainer. And then there is information technology. I feel like that should be at the top. The repair industry, health and senior service industries, and cleaning services. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are 6 recession-proof industries. Are you in one of those, or are you interested in getting into one of those industries to work for yourself? Please let me know in the comment section, and if there is something else that should be on that list that you think is recession proof, also let me know. All right, let me get back to the live stream, make sure I'm not missing anybody. And now I'm going to share. I haven't read this one at all yet. This one is the Network Journal. The Network Journal. It is called Black Professionals in Small Business Magazine. And the folks featured here on the front are the 40 under 40, one of my favorite numbers now. The 40 under 40 is an achievement for reaching higher goals. 40 under 40, 40 under 40. So I'm just going to jump around into here and see what we got going on here. Me and my daughter have used this product, and so I'm very proud when I see these ladies on here. Miss Jessie's product. They make hair care products for curly hair girls, specifically curly hair girls with thick, kinky hair, but also biracial hair as well. Hair that has some African texture to it. And their products are expensive sometimes, but they're well worth it. And they started off by blending things together in their kitchen. I think she said it was either her auntie or her grandma. They came up with these products, and then they brought them to the mainstream, which is great because there are a lot of black women who don't want to straighten their hair anymore and they just want to wear it in their natural state and they want to care for it and um, have it stay healthy and look really good. And so that is a product that I can believe in because it brings value. It lets me to be able to take care of my hair and wear it in its natural state without being too dry or too frizzy and things like that. All right, I'm reading from the front here now. This is the table of contents. 40 Under 40 Achievers Award. One of the questions the New York Journal asked recipients of its 40 Under 40 Achievers Award each year is, what is the one thing you would most likely like to do if you had the time and the money? So I'll ask you that same thing. What is the one thing you would like to do if you had the time and the money? I'll ask myself that question after I finish the article. The answers always provide clear insight into the honorees' hearts and minds better than any resume or bio. Since we launched the award 22 years ago, TNJ, the network journal, has put that question to 880 young men and women recipients to date, including this year's class. Year after year, we've been struck by their overwhelming desire to travel abroad and to improve lives in the Black community, mostly by preparing the next generation for career success. We can only hope that our honorees will not allow time and money to become enemies of these dreams. So let me think to myself, that would be a great second part of this title. My first part of my title says, if you could have your own business, what would it be? And then the second question, if you had the time and the money, what's the one thing you would most likely do? If I had the time and the money, I would definitely travel. But there's only so many places you can go, right? After you're done traveling and you're just enjoying yourself, what would you actually do? I think I had this conversation with one of my coworkers. Like if we didn't have to work here and we had all our needs taken care of and we had the money, the resources, what would you do with your time? And I think mine was something like I would make some type of nonprofit organization for young girls. What would they call them? At risk girls, girls in urban areas, and just really educate them, like sex education and reproductive education, because there are so many young girls who still feel like there's nothing in life for them to do but to have a child. Having children is great, but when you don't have money, you don't have a job, you don't have an education, and you already have limited opportunities, it just ends up being a cycle of poverty and or not getting ahead. So I wanted, like, if I had the money and the means and the resources, I would make some type of program, nothing like Planned Parenthood or anything, but just really putting it into the minds of young girls to, I guess, promote abstinence and to promote education and abstinence. There's just so many opportunities that I feel like once young women have children, they either get on hold, temporary hold, or permanent hold. So I think that's what I would do. What's the one thing you would do if you had the time and the money? I would have a nonprofit organization for young women, at risk women, meaning women usually in the hood or in the ghettos or in poor areas where it's like, I don't have anything else going for me. I'm gonna have a baby so I can have somebody to love or somebody to love me. And I would just try to nip that in the bud and just have them be educated and either go to college or have their own businesses, but just really believe in themselves so they can make something. So when they do have children, they will have something to give to their children. That would be my thing. What would be your thing? Let me know. Okay, let's see. What am I going to find on the pages of the network journal? On page 82, we got the headliner, Making Ozones Equitable. What is an ozone? Page 42, the Africa focus, The Spirit of Martha in South Sudan. On page 44, we have Finance and Economy, Financial Start, Equal Opportunity. Page 45, the capital markets, talking about growth prospects brighten ahead of 2020. And page 46, we've got the global arena, global communications industry. Page 47, we have entrepreneurship, a business plan's 6 must see 6 must sees, and that's the letter C. Page 48 is talking about careers, getting started in international development. Page 49 is technology, B2B digitization payments. So that's business to business again. Digitization payments. I wonder if they talk about like PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, places like that. I wonder. Then there's people, events, health and fitness, after hours, and then the editor's picks. I think I'm going to pick 2 articles from this one before I go into the next one. I would definitely like to talk about entrepreneurship on page 47, which are the 6 C's for a business plan. And I do want to know about those digitizations. So I'm going to turn to page 47 and share that with you. And just if you're interested in picking up this particular edition, this is the fall. This is the fall of 2019 right here. Fall 2019. But you could probably read this article online. There is a website here, tnj.com. Oh, Scott Victor's in the room. Good morning. How are you doing today? I'm catching up on my reading by sharing some of my business magazine with me. Thank you for joining me, sir. I don't know how long you'll be here, but I'm honored to have you for however long you can stay. And if you wouldn't mind answering the question, I don't know if you have your own business already, which I feel like you do, but the question of the day, outside of me reading my magazines, is if you could own your own business, what would it be? In a perfect world with a perfect setting, having all the resources at hand, what business would you have? That is the question of today, and while I'm waiting for folks to come in and participate, I'm catching up on some of my reading from my entrepreneurship magazines. It says, I'm good. Yes, with some ellipses, which means he may be thinking. My business, I don't think I even answered that question yet. I answered the question of what would I do? What's the one thing you would do if you had the time and the money? So that's separate from what would I actually do for my business. Oh, I kind of answered it already earlier. If I could have my own business, it would probably be something dealing with voice acting and also children, something along the line, something Sesame Street-ish, where it may or may not be puppets, but it's definitely me getting into character and using my energy and using positivity some way to help children or teach children. So I don't have a specific business plan for that, but in a perfect world, that's what my business would be. Helping businesses with video marketing via YouTube. Oh, wow, that doesn't surprise me at all. Thank you for sharing that with me. That doesn't surprise me at all because that's what you already do. So well done, well done. Yes, that is the question of today. And yeah, I'm just going through some of my magazines for anybody who wants to pick up some tips and tricks from some of these entrepreneurship magazines and just want to hang out and chill and talk about something other than what's been talked about. So I'm going to jump ahead to page 47 and then talking about entrepreneurship, and then I'm going to read one other article in here before I go on to my next set of magazines. This one is the Network Journal. The next one I'll probably read is Entrepreneur, not to be confused with The Green Entrepreneur, which I've already read from. The Green Entrepreneur is talking about the green plant, green flower industry, which is not legalized in Texas, but if you are in other states, this may be a great magazine for you to pick up to get some ideas on how to create business plans and marketing and things like that. But yes, thank you very much. You have a good voice. Thank you. Then next up, I'm going to read from Entrepreneur and some of my other ones. So let's see, page 47. What's going on here? This is talking about business plans, and it says there are 6 C's. Like C is for cookie. There we go with Sesame Street again. The 6 C's of business plans. And this is what you need to keep in mind if you are thinking about your own startup. So let me give a brief overview. There is concept, customers, competition, cash flow, credibility, and caution. So that's what I'm going to go over here. This article is written by Cliff Ennico. Cliff Ennico. And again, this is about entrepreneurship. And these are the 6 C's for your business plan. It says here, as a frequent judge in business plan competitions, I didn't even know that was a thing. Business plan competitions? Is that like a spelling bee? I never heard of that. As a frequent judge in business plan competitions, I look for six things in a business plan, each of which conveniently begins with the letter C. First one is concept. You must be able to communicate your business idea in a single paragraph, two at the most. Executive summary. This is the first thing I look for when reviewing a business plan. If I don't buy the concept, I don't even look at the rest of the business plan. So make it perfect. Customers. I want to know that people will actually buy what you are selling. Who are the customers you are targeting with your products or services? What are their fears? The things that keep them awake at night, and passions, the things that turn them on. How do your products or services address those fears and passions? I've actually heard of that concept, that business writing model before, addressing people's fears and addressing people's passions. The third C is competition. A business plan that says we have no competition. Our product or service is unique, goes immediately into the trash. What? I was not expecting that. Every business has competition. If you're convinced that yours doesn't, you haven't looked hard enough. If your product or service is too expensive for the market, what other products and services can people buy to help deal with the same fears and passions? Are there any big box retailers, chain stores, or franchises out there that could get into your marketplace and wipe you out with their economies of scale? Are there any new technologies that could make your products or services obsolete? Be realistic about your competitors. Identify them, convince me you have a compelling advantage over them, and tell me how you plan to crush them. The next C is cash flow. Too many entrepreneurs spend too much time projecting profit margins in their business plan. That's important, of course, but what's twice as important, especially for startup or early stage business, is cash flow. Will there be enough money in your business checking account at the end of each month to pay your operating expenses next month? Sooner or later, a successful business reaches a point at which revenues from operations are sufficient to cover the monthly operating costs. That's called the break even point. How long is it going to take your business to get there? If you if you have broken even or already or plan to do it very soon, it will actually be quite easy to convince people to invest in your business and help it grow. But if you're looking for money to pay the electric bill each month, you're not ready to share your business plan to investors. Don't tell me what you hope will happen or what is going to happen. Tell me what's happening or what has already happened and make me feel this rocket ship is leaving the launch pad. A lot of reading. I should have brought in some lemon. All right. Now that I wet my whistle, let me go on to the next one, which is credibility. Credibility is important. It says here, I will look at your management team's resumes very closely to make sure you have this know how to make this business plan happen. I want to see people who know your technology cold and can adapt quickly to market demands. People who know your customers so well they can crawl inside their heads and make 100% sure sales will happen. People with the operations and financial experience who can help the business break even as soon as possible, and people with experience in the industry. I will also be looking for seasoned entrepreneurs, so don't try to impress me with your Fortune 100 credentials. He said Fortune 100s. Wait a minute. Is there certain levels like that? I've heard of Fortune 500. I didn't know there was different levels, or are they just being funny? 30 years of running a large company with an established business model and tons of cash is no qualifications for running a startup. The last one is caution. I want you to warn me about the risks involved in the business and explain your strategy for managing them. I want to see you working with good lawyers, accountants, and insurance professionals. If you are a one person business, like myself, I want to see succession plan to ensure the business will survive your death or disability. Now, that is something I've never thought about. I've never thought about that. If you are a one person business, I want to see a succession plan to ensure the business will survive your death or disability. So when my business is up and running Everything is running smooth. I've got profits. I'm ready to scale. Everything's great. In the unfortunate event, or in the event that something happens to me, what happens to my business? I wonder how many people have thought that far into it. Do my kids get it? Does it go into some type of trust? Does it, like, what happens? That's something that I need to actually research because I've never thought about that. Okay, the second article, the second and last article that I'm going to read from here is about that digital payments that I was interested in. Here we go. This is talking about B2B businesses, business to business. And I got a good idea of what this may be, but I don't know if I'm correct or not. This is from the technology section. It's called Digitization in B2B Payments. On my phone, I've got quite a few payment apps. I've got the Cash App, I've got PayPal, I think I've had Zelle, and there's another one, Venmo. Venmo. So I'm assuming that's what this is about, but let me see if I'm correct. And this is in current trends. There is a growing feeling that B2B payments are starting to come of age. That is good news for customers considering decades have passed since there was a significant innovation in this space. Here are 5 trends for business payments in 2019. Let's see. B2B payments innovation has begun. B2B payments is a very, very large market. 36 trillion in payment volume versus about 3 billion for consumer payments. Most business customers are still paying with paper checks. This has always been an interesting category because it's so big and so far behind in digitization. Now, as the consumer payments technology market is becoming saturated, B2B payments have captured the attention of investment community. There are a lot of new investments happening, so look for offerings related to B2B payments in the next few years. Payments as a backbone. Vendor payments are tied to a lot of other processes. Once you digitize payments, it opens up opportunities with procure to pay. Not really sure what that means. Procure to pay, dynamic discounting, supply chain financing, and lending, to name a few. For example, we've already seen Uber experiment with making auto loans to its drivers and taking the loan payments directly out of their pay. Oh. Companies should look to digitize payments with an eye toward efficiency and cost savings now and as a springboard into the other innovation opportunities down the road. You know what that reminds me of? And I would have to ask Alex Express for this to see if this has anything to do with his industry. So Alex Express is another creator that I watch and follow, and he's a truck driver. I think he's an owner operator. I don't know anything about trucking, so I definitely need to be schooled on this. If anybody wants to leave me an answer or just some information in the comments section. When you are driving for someone, there's 2 ways to do it. You can drive for a company and pay a portion of your payments to the company, right? Or if you own the truck, you own 100% of the profits? Or is it somewhat like this Uber situation where the person is taking a car loan? Am I reading that right? Yeah, taking an auto loan from Uber so they can drive and be an Uber driver, and a portion of their payments goes back to Uber. I wonder, is that how that works with trucking? The next section here talks about full payment automation. The first wave of new entrants into B2B payments has already hit the market, and many of their value propositions sound the same: cloud, simple, automated. But not all of them are really in the cloud, simple or automated, automating the whole process. B2B payments have long been plagued by partial automation, and that's a big reason why so many businesses are still stuck on checks. Cards and automated clearinghouses, ACH, I do know about that, make the transfer of funds electronic, but they also introduce new manual processes for file preparation, reconciliation, and vendor enablement. Now, new, truly automated solutions can handle every part of the process. The person in the accounts payable should only have to select the bills they want to pay and click the pay button. Buyers need to look past the marketing language and check under the hood. There's a little bit more going on here than I thought, and I don't know if I will understand it, but this is the page if you get this magazine here, or if you go to the website. I think the website is what did I say the website was? tnj.com. TNJ. You might be able to find this one here. But yeah, this has nothing to do with what I thought it has. This is a couple pay grades above me. I do want to go into the 40 under 40 just because I love that. That's my favorite number. But if you want to check that out, the 40 under 40, grab this magazine here. This is the fall edition. 40 under 40. The next magazine I'm going to go on to is Entrepreneur magazine. That's this one here that has Tracy Ellis Ross on it. And let's see. How to be a leader. Voice, vision, authenticity, that's what wins. And that's coming from Tracy Ellis Ross. See here on the cover it says timing. What the best time to launch is now. That's on page 44. Hiring, why you should get an apprentice. That's on page 24. Sales, find new customers for old products. That's on page 30. And let's see, this is the March publication. So this one's probably going to be on your book stand still if you go out to your local magazine retailer. Like I said, I got these magazines about 2 weeks ago in preparation for International Women's Day, and so some of these may still be available. Or you can check out the websites. Entrepreneur.com is the actual website. They may or may not have some of these same articles in there. But I'm going to jump in to see what Tracy Ellis Ross is saying on page 32 about leadership. I know that's one thing I think that's one thing I have accomplished in the past year with my goals to be an entrepreneur. I feel like my leadership skills have gone up. I feel like my charisma has gone up, and I feel like me being comfortable with talking to people, like in a sales type of way, or even just in a communication type of way, has grown. Just my actual salesmanship skills need some help and work, but that's okay. Baby steps, right? Tracy Ellis Ross says, "Don't be a brand, be a voice." Blackish star Tracy Ellis Ross spent 10 years getting a hair care company off the ground. Wow. That right there says a lot. So for those of you who don't know, she does have a hair care brand. I believe it's called Pattern. You know, like your curl pattern or your wave pattern. The name of her brand is called Pattern. And I just assumed with her being a celebrity, she just snapped her fingers and said, yeah, I want to brand this thing. You know, like a lot of celebrities come out with a fashion line or cologne or perfume or shoe or jewelry. I just assumed that she snapped her fingers. And she did it. But it says here, she spent 10 years getting a hair care company off the ground. Wow, I'm humbled by that. One thing is clear, the message matters as much as the product. The message matters as much as the product. And this article is written by Liz Brody. So yes, for those who don't know, that is Diana Ross's daughter. The great Diana Ross, the singer and actress. Tracy Ellis Ross is her daughter. I grew up watching her on a show called Girlfriends, talking about successful women in the 2000s with their own careers and businesses. And it was a really good show. I think it was on the WB network. So that's where I discovered her. Anyways, I'm just going to read this article here by, who did I say the author was? The writer was Liz Brody on Tracy Ellis Ross. Ooh, pardon me if you heard me burp. I'm sorry. "These shoes are going to kill me," Tracy Ellis Ross calls out to the costume designer as she holds up a pair of Pradas. Ross and the crew are on the Disney lot in Burbank, California, deciding on outfits for the next episode of Blackish. That is the current show that she's on, in which she plays the lead. The fitting department is a cramped, cluttered space in one of the sound stages, hemmed in by racks of clothes hung atop each other, bunk bed style, almost up to the ceiling. Silky blouses, flared pants, dresses, heels, sneakers. They snagged the Pradas on sale. Everywhere you look, boards are tacked up with the photos of the cast and set. Scene breakdowns, press clippings, and sayings like, behind every successful woman is a tribe of other successful women who have her back. Michelle Cole, the costume designer, has Ross's back and front. Rainbow Bow Johnson, MD, the actress's character, rarely wears the same thing twice, except for the shoes because they're usually out of the shot. Still, Ross is down for the products. I feel I would suffer for them, she says. Okay, and you're able to walk? Cole asks through the muffle of fabric. No, says Ross, I'm not able to walk in them, but I don't really seem to care. That answer, in a way, is the rallying cry of an entrepreneur. This may not work. Let's do it anyway. It is also a good summary of Ross's approach to life. Over and over again, she has stepped out without quite knowing how she'll stay upright. Clearly, she's done it in her Golden Globe winning entertainment career, where she becomes where she has become known for a comic talent that curls and coils and pongs out of bounds, not unlike her signature galaxy of gravity defying hair. But the same attitude has also led her to found and run a new company. It's called Pattern. And it's a line of products that's as much about enhancing women's natural, curly, coily textured hair as it is about restyling the way culture sees those women. Figuring out how to take an idea and pull it up into the atmosphere and into the third dimension, there's just no roadmap, she says. I really had no idea how to turn a dream into goop. And I don't mean Gwyneth Paltrow goop, I mean hair product. Like, how do you do that? It took her 10 years, she laughs, because really nobody starts out knowing how to do that. You just put on new shoes and walk. We duck into Ross's rainbow trailer. It must be 85 degrees in there. She likes it hot. There's a vague, sagey, musky incense she can't identify, which is out of character for a woman who's surgically specific about what she likes and doesn't. At 47, and she will tell you her age within a minute of meeting you, Ross is riding high. She's busting out of her sitcom success, which took flight in 2000 on Girlfriends, and continues into her sixth season of Blackish, a show that has gained critical acclaim for tackling issues like police brutality and slavery. Later this year, she'll co star in the film Covers with Dakota Johnson and provide the lead character's voice in the animated series Jodie, an MTV Darius spinoff, which Ross is also executive producing, part of venturing behind the camera to take a bigger role in the storytelling. That includes creating and executive producing the series Mixed Ish, a Blackish prequel about Rainbow as a young girl, which premiered last fall. Like Bo, Ross has a white father, Robert Ellis Silberstein, and a black mother, Diana Ross. And for those who don't know, yes, that Diana Ross, the icon. I talk to my mom a lot, she says. I don't know what we talk about, but we talk a lot. If I call her at 5:30, she's usually up. She never answers the phone for her kids. No doubt Ross had quite a start. The middle sister of five siblings, she grew up between the States and Europe and went to college at Brown University where she discovered acting. Although she had all kinds of dreams, never did she think of becoming an entrepreneur. I don't know that I even knew the word or what it meant, she says, but I feel like my childhood trained me to be a producer and a CEO. My mom is not a woman who sat somewhere and people did things. She is an extremely professional woman who has a sense of agency in her own life and a real work ethic, along with making dinner and waking us up for school and being glamorous, gorgeous, joyful fun. So it just gave me that example. Looking back, Ross realizes that her journey to entrepreneurship started young, when she was a teenager doing R&D on herself. She'd quit using relaxers to chemically straighten her hair, but she couldn't find products for wearing it natural. I literally started buying everything, she says, to the point that my mother was like, listen here, little girl, your hair products alone are going to break the bank. You need to either get a really good job or a really rich husband if this is going to keep happening. Like so many women with curly or tight textured hair, she experimented. Beer and Kerry lotion worked, but not for long. Deep conditioning products seemed to help, somewhat. She constantly tinkered in the shower and kept it up into adulthood. Like so many women with no, by 2008 she was starring in the last season of Girlfriends and still her own hair chemist. One day she stopped at a beauty supply store on Wilshire Boulevard in LA, and a guy came out of the salon in the back. "You have no idea," she remembers him saying. "You have no idea the amount of women that come in with a picture of you pulled out of a magazine saying they want your hair. If you had hair products, you would be a millionaire." She thought, walking out. Could I make hair products? That's so interesting. Hair might seem like a shallow or purely aesthetic subject, but for black and brown women who wear their hair natural to express their authentic selves, it is a political statement. Ross could talk for days about the connection between her own hair and self acceptance, but the notion that there was a business opportunity around helping all other women struggling like her, that never occurred to her until that man dropped the idea. She started thinking about the marketplace. Only a few products existed for black women's natural hair, and they didn't work for her. There was a void and a customer base that needed no convincing. We're going to keep showering. We're going to keep showering. I hope so, she says. We could probably stand to use less water. No, not probably, absolutely. But washing your hair is not going anywhere, and you don't need to do a con job on customers. "You're so ugly, you need this." Like, no, you're gorgeous. Do you want stuff to support your gorgeousness? That's it to me. Her company of hair products flashed before her. You know what? With her being of biracial descent, having kinky hair, but not that kinky hair, I would have never thought that she had issues. My daughter, who's biracial, has somewhat kinky hair like me, but it's very, very loose kinky hair, and she has issues. Like, I would have never thought that she would have had issues, but she's got issues. So, the curly hair struggle is real on all levels. It says here, once Girlfriends, the show, finished in 2008, Ross sat at her computer and wrote a hair care brand pitch for curly, coily, and tight textured hair. The vision was twofold. The company would create great products for this community, but also flip on its head the way we are seen and marketed to. So it's not based on a beauty standard that just doesn't see us. She says, "I say the beauty industry, but honestly, it's the world." Being willing to define not only a new role for herself, but the vision she could bring to the world is the kind of pivotal moment that makes an entrepreneur. But if she now saw herself as a brand builder, the people around her didn't get it. "Why would anybody want hair products from you? You're an actress," someone in an agency she worked with said. Another suggested she make wigs. A third said just do a hair TV show. Ross didn't want to pretzel herself into someone else's idea and pressed forward with her own. She tried to launch her line with two large beauty companies, which she won't name, but neither worked out. When JCPenney approached her about a limited edition fashion line, as much as she'd love to design clothes, she thought no, it would just be a distraction from her hair care mission. "And then I was like, hold on, everybody, hold on," she says. "First of all, how much money can I get and how can that fund the hair company?" And then there were so many extremely important opportunities for growth and to learn how my brand, and whatever you want to call it, translates monetarily. What works? What goes into articulating my taste, point of view, vision into actual thing? So she went for it. At the same time, Ross worked on her developing collection. She was also starting to explore her personal narrative in a new way. What exactly was she to people? Who did she want to be? Circling those questions was deeply personal, but defining the answers is something every entrepreneur must do for herself. Ross had always seen herself as part of the larger history of Black culture. Our contribution and our ownership over what we create has become invisible because of the way the story is told, she says. So it was time to start telling hers, honestly and just importantly, unapologetically. She picked her moments. She gave a speech at a Glamour Women of the Year summit in 2017, which she called "My Life is Mine." Why should she apologize for being single and childless at 45? Why should she apologize for being. And several months later, she started working on a talk, which she'd give at TED in 2018 called A woman's fury holds a lifetime of wisdom. I didn't know she did a TED Talk. That fury, she said, sits deep inside us as we practice our smile and try to be pleasant. She spoke the words that women thought she didn't say, which is why the videos just added to the millions of followers she'd been gathering on Instagram. Ross was becoming their voice. And a voice is indeed monetizable. As someone who comes from the brand space, says Rachel Jonas Gilman, who worked for Juicy Couture, Cole Haan, and Jonathan Adler, and would go on to become managing director of Pattern. What gets you excited is when somebody is truly authentic, and that's Tracy. It's super rare, but it's extremely important in this day and age when there's a lot of different brands and noise in the marketplace. Now it was time for Ross to become louder. As I'm reading this article, I guess I'm starting to understand. Like I said before I started reading it, I'm thinking to myself, she's an actress, she's Diana Ross's daughter, she's had her time on TV, and she's made a name for herself as an actress. All she has to do is snap her fingers, and she can just make this thing appear, right? But even here it says she had to build a brand around having a voice. What is this story telling people? It's her story. It's her connection with hair. It's her building an authentic brand into hair care needs. And I like this part where it says she didn't want to build her brand. She didn't want to build her brand, her hair care brand around like, oh, you're so ugly, you need this, which I think a lot of brands don't directly say, but indirectly say like, hey, you've got this hair, let's fix it. And she's more like, do you want to support your gorgeousness? This is it. There's a little bit more in this article, but I will leave you guys to read this here. This is an entrepreneur magazine. I'm going to go on to maybe one more magazine, and then I will check in with some of my other friends who may be on here or have uploaded some things. Let's see. Now, this is talking about women and empowerment. I don't know if it necessarily has any entrepreneurship articles in it, but let me check and see. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here. I see at least one article here. It's on Martha Zumwalt. Martha Zumwalt. And I'll probably find another one. I am my own boss, and I don't take that for granted. We're not just the owner's kids. Everyone that works at Regal is treated like family, and we take that responsibility seriously. Well, that looks like that's a family owned business. Advice for successful multi generational business. Now that looks interesting. Okay, I'm going to read two articles from Women Working. The first one here in the back, and maybe two or three. I've got two short articles in the back. One looks like they're small businesses. This one looks like a small business. This one looks like a small business. And this one looks like a family owned multi generational business. This is the annual 2020 edition of Women Working. This is on display until May 30th. So if you go into your local bookstore or magazine retailer, you should be able to find this one here. I'm going to start with the shorter articles in the back. This one is on Martha Zumwalt. This later here, Martha Zumwalt. And it says here, Martha Rosa Zavala Corman Zumwalt, the Latina Americana, moved from Jersey to Tampa with a hope, a dream, and two young children. She decided to pursue her lifelong ambition of owning her own business. Martha's Ecuadorian father told her that he came to this country for the land of opportunity. He wanted his children to take advantage of a country called America. His words still burn in her soul even today. So let's see what's going on with Martha Zumwalt. In 1978, hey, that's the year I was born. In 1978, oh, Mr. Victor is still here. I did not know that. Thank you so much. Your delivery on air is really good. I appreciate that. I'm trying not to get too distracted by whether or not someone is in here because I want to make sure that this is a good read for the replay. I know some people, when they don't have too many people in the live stream, they may feel awkward or uncomfortable. But remember, just because someone's not in here now doesn't mean they can't check in with you later. So I appreciate you still being here. Thank you so much. My delivery is good. I got a little bit of practicing to do, but baby steps. I appreciate that. Thank you. Martha Zumwalt. It says here in 1978, at the age of 23, I went to work for a blueprint company called Truckman's in Morristown, New Jersey. The company offers printing services to engineers, architects, and construction companies, along with drafting and surveyors' supplies. I was young and eager to learn all the aspects of the business. My late husband, Nick, noticed a hidden treasure in me. He saw talent which I didn't see in myself. We decided to move to Florida for a fresh start. I made my journey to Florida in 1986 with two young children and a special napkin in my hand. This napkin had a handwritten vision to operate the leading edge reprographics company in the new marketplace. I've never heard of that before. Reprographics. We only had $50,000 for our investment in a reprographics company, and it was the only money we had. I needed courage and strength. My first decision was to build a firm company foundation. I humbly recruited my first board member and filled my C-suite with the Lord Himself. I hear that, girl. Amen. I made him chairman, CEO, CFO, CMO, and COO. I figured since He made heaven and earth, He could help me build a firm foundation for the newly acquired business. I've never heard of that before. Oh my goodness. I put together a simple flyer that described the type of services we would provide and our hours of operation. Our slogan was outrageous customer service. That was it. The words proved to be true. Our customer service became our cornerstone and was known as outrageous. Since I started from scratch, I made cold calls. I went door to door looking for architects, engineers, and construction clients. I kept the faith by repeating Joshua 1, which reads, Be strong and courageous and do not let the book depart from my mouth. I would confess this over and over until my inner being became stronger. Our company grew quickly in a competitive market. We began building a leadership team to lead all facets of the business: sales, production, information technology, finances, strategy, innovation. Next, I hired a very experienced manager in our industry as chief strategist. He focused on addressing customers' reprographic issues in new and creative ways. We also set a goal to achieve financial independence by becoming debt free. My prayers were answered. Front page news in Orlando. Universal Studios was planning on building a fast track expansion project, including City Walk. With no office in Orlando, I needed a supernatural miracle. We won the engagement, and this project put NGI Orlando on the map. Next, we expanded the technical offerings of the company. We hired graphic designers, and we expanded our services offerings to include color printing for presentation materials, construction site grand color format, and event printing. We won assignments with the NCAA for Final Four signage, plus graphic design projects for sports celebrities and color output services for other industries. We believed in investing in our profession, our industry, and our local and statewide communities. Our community outreach soon became larger than life, with the Lord working in me through notable involvements with sports and music celebrities, including Charles Barkley, Lucille O'Neal, Shaq's mother, Derek Jeter, Albert Pujols, Mark Anthony, and the New Museum of Bible in Washington, D.C. Okay, so when I was reading through one of these articles for green entrepreneurship. I was reading about the brothers that worked together, and one had a background in studio production, the other one had a background in business finance or business marketing. And I said to myself, and well, I said to you guys too, that one thing I've noticed with people who have had success, because I follow a lot of entrepreneurship channels on YouTube, is that they have some type of background in what they're doing, or if if they're going out and creating their own brand, they have some type of business background in marketing, in finance, in development, and advertising. They always have some type of background. And here, this lady here, it says the first thing that she worked in when she first started working, I went to work for a blueprint company. So she's getting the skills. She starts off as an employee. She's gaining these skills just from being in the environment. Then she breaks out into her own. That's the pattern that I'm seeing. The people that are the most successful, not the fly by night people that I see on YouTube, where I just came up with this idea for a Shopify store and I made $10,000 in a day. The people who have this long sustaining success, they have a background. So I don't know what that means for me. I don't know if that means if I do end up changing jobs, I need to go into the field that I want to make for myself, or is it still possible to succeed doing something completely new and completely different from what you've always done as an employee. There's a little bit more of this article left, but I'm going to go on to the next entrepreneur in this magazine here. And then I'm going to finish up and probably round it out with this next one. I've been on for about 2 hours now. So I'm going to talk about Miss Lori Siebert. Miss Lori Siebert next. And that is this lady here with all this artwork behind her. Looks like watercolors. Looks like watercolors. Okay. So Miss Lori Siebert says, I began our business in 1987, just 3 years out of college. That is another thing that I've noticed. I think I've said that in another video. If they didn't have a background in the business that they made for themselves, almost all of these people went to college. Like, I know nowadays it's like hip and trendy to talk about people who dropped out of college or they just came up with this idea on their own. I think those people do exist, but a lot of the people that I see that have long-term businesses and sustaining businesses, they have some type of education. It might be autodidactic, which means they taught themselves, or it might be degree, but these people have backgrounds. So just something to keep in mind, that you may want to um, put some education or vocation as your foundation. I don't know if that's a saying or not. You might want some type of education or vocation as your foundation for entrepreneurship. Hope that made sense. All right, let me finish up. I began our business in 1987, just 3 years out of college, while working a full-time job as an art director for a magazine. What did I just say? That's her business. She was working as an art director for a magazine. I was also trying to manage freelancing for several local businesses, which also became a full-time job on the side. It became tough to juggle both, but because I had built up a client base, I took the leap with the support of my family and started my own studio. The great love of designing anything I could is what really motivated me to take the chance. My dad told me if it doesn't work out, you will still learn and be that much more valuable if you have to get another job. Amen, Daddy. That's great. That's great advice. It's 32 years later and I've learned a ton. It says here, Lori Siebert and Company is a trend, art, and product development studio. They specialize in concepts for the gift and home decor industries. They are known to be a versatile studio that can create artful images in a variety of styles. Yeah, if I can go back in time, knowing what I know now, knowing the direction I want to take my path, I would tell my younger self to do something dealing with voice, something dealing with acting, something dealing with creativity, content creation, to have that type of foundation. I feel like that would be super important for me. But I can't go back in time. But for anybody who's young now or starting out now, even if you're not young, if you're able to get a job in the career that you want to make for yourself, I think that would be helpful. Just to be in that environment, just to know how does it run, what are the ins and outs of it, and then put your own spin on it. And like the daddy says here, if it doesn't work out, you can always put it on your resume, right? That's awesome. I never thought of it that way. Okay, we always had freedom to craft our life around our business. That's the heading here. We are a family business. My husband is my business partner, and our daughter is one of our very talented designers. We love to collaborate daily. Being an entrepreneurial family is wonderful and tough at times. When you own your own business, you can steer it any way you want, but you never leave the work at the office. It means a lot of hard work, a lot of hours, and sometimes a lot of worries. We could be there for field trips and special events for our kids. We have the flexibility to bring our children with us to work. And when our daughter started working for us, she brought her baby to work. We are a scrappy little company. We have made it through many years and several redirects. I sometimes long for the knowledge I might have gained through working for other companies, but we just figure things out, and I hope that we are a good role model for our kids. I tell my children when it's time to make a change in your business, don't be afraid to pivot. It's best to make the decision, create a plan, and move forward. You have to stay true to your heart and trust your gut. Also, seek out more mentors who can help you get where you want to go. Social media has been an invaluable tool for meeting people and building my business. I love Instagram because you can engage with others so easily. I have met and become friends with so many other artists on Instagram. I host creative and art business workshops and retreats, and this is a wonderful place to connect with women who would like to attend. I recently started a monthly membership with my partner, Phyllis Dobbs, called Art Biz Jam Abundance. Facebook has been our primary platform for promoting that venture. 8 years ago, we launched a little retreat called Art Biz Jam, which was created to help women artists in business. We had 12 attendees for our first retreat. It has grown, and last year we were up to over 50 attendees. We hope to serve an even higher number of entrepreneurial business women in the creative field. We've watched this company grow and support one another. We hope that these efforts strengthen this tribe and also our own business. Our business is built around the creation and selling of ideas and original art. So, one of the challenges that we have encountered frequently in our business is copyright infringement. We recently invited an attorney, Tammy Browning Smith, to discuss this topic at the most recent Art Biz Jam conference. It is a topic that is being discussed constantly amongst my peers in the creative industry. During the past 2 years, our government has been working harder to promote strong intellectual property rights protection and enforcement, both domestically and abroad. This effort is important to my business as it responds to theft and protects what is at the core of our business, our ideas. I am part of the sandwich generation, and I deeply care about any decisions that affect our children, grandchildren, and our parents. I believe that if I don't use my voice to advocate for my family and the issues that impact their future, I'm not doing my job as a mother, grandmother, daughter, citizen. I am in awe of and truly grateful to the hundreds of women who had to fight for this right. I believe that the voices of more women should be heard in shaping the laws that determine where our country is heading. Listening to debates, reading, and having discussions with people I trust help me to form how I wish to use my own voice. I believe that the input from more women is essential to the humanity, strength, and character of our future. And that looks like that's her with maybe one of her retreats, maybe at the retreat. There's a little bit more in this article. No, actually, that was a shorter one here. Check in, make sure I didn't miss anybody coming in. All right, this last one that I'm going to read here, I'm just going to hit a few highlights from this Patsy Walker Gono. Patsy Walker Gono is the president of Regal Plastics, which is a family-owned and operated plastics fabricator and supplier in Irving, Texas. Hey, that's here in the DFW area. And a proud member of the Greater Irving Las Colinas Chamber of Commerce. Successful multi-generational small businesses are rare, but Regal Plastics has bucked the odds not only as a family owned company, but also as a woman owned business in a male dominated industry. Under the leadership of Patsy, her husband Wayne, and their children, Amy Collins and Chad Gono, this close knit family won't allow business differences to interfere with their relationships. So that looks like that's Miss Patsy right here. That'd be so cool if I could meet and talk to her. Like we're literally within about 30 miles of each other. Fort Worth is not that far from Irving. All right, let's see. I'm going to read some highlights here. It says getting savvy tax counsel is a good investment and can be the difference in just surviving and thriving. I know that's right, because if you know the tax law, if you know somebody that knows the tax law well for you, you can write off so many things, and there's so many tax loops that are legal tax loops, and your business can really thrive. It says here, I am my own boss, and I don't take that for granted. We're not just the owner's kids. Everyone that works at Regal is treated like family, and we take that responsibility seriously. That looks like that's her daughter. All right. I'm going to read a portion from this article here, and this is a 5-star advocacy advice from Erica Mulder with the Greater Irving Las Colinas Chamber of Commerce. So the article is actually about Miss Patsy Gono, but the portion here that I'm going to read is from the Chamber of Commerce over there in Irving / Las Colinas. Irving is one city. Las Colinas is a smaller city. So they combine the Chamber of Commerce here. It says here the best advocates for change are people who share a story that moves people to action. No matter how big or small the issue is, our elected officials want to hear how their work impacts you, your business, your customers, or your community. Your stories matter. Let the advice below help you tell it. Okay, you guys ready for the 5-star advocacy advice? The first thing here says understand the change that you want when you're talking to your elected officials. Determine what specific policy, regulation, or law is impacting you or your business. To find information about federal legislation, visit congress.gov, or to find information about your state legislature, go to congress.gov/state legislature websites. The second point here is be creative. Do your homework. Research solutions to help address your issue. Think innovatively. Call your local Chamber of Commerce. Visit the U.S. Chamber of Commerce advocacy efforts at uschamber.com. Or find pertinent local and national trade associations at directoryofassociations.com. Build a coalition. Find other businesses or stakeholders who might be dealing with your same issues and reach out. Create a coalition to share ideas, solutions, and resources. Together, you can amplify your message for change. I could see that. I could see that. So, like with my business idea, let's say if I did want to do some type of child related acting voiceover combo thing, I could maybe like make a coalition with both voice actors and like child educators, and somehow some way maybe we're all dealing with the same issue, either some type of what did they say here, regulation, or what did it say, regulation or some type of legislation, something that would be in favor of the businesses that we're trying to run. So building a coalition, that would be cool. And I think that would also not only help each organization individually grow and benefit and profit, but also networking opportunities. If it's possible, maybe the teachers can do something with the voice actors can do something with the teachers, and then um, cross promotion, some type of cross promotion of a sort. It says here, use your social network. Don't forget your social platforms, podcasts, and YouTube to spread awareness. Build an advocacy page. Create a one pager. Create a one pager on your issue and spread the word. Talking about a website there. Create a hashtag. Tag your elected officials. Contact your local news outlets and share your story. Serve as a key resource around your issue. And finally, invest in the long haul. The legislative processes at all levels take time. Be patient, but continue to keep the conversation top of mind with your elected officials via emails, letters, phone calls, and meetings. Be willing to compromise. If it's a federal issue and you're able, plan an advocacy trip or Washington D.C. to meet with your congressional member and or senator in person. The effort will leave an important and effective impact on your elected official. That's a good topic to have. I wonder what type of people that have small businesses are being affected by any type of new laws or any type of regulations that they would actually need to write into their elected legislatures. I think I saw movement. Hello, my friend. Hello, Miss Robin. Hello, Miss Robin. I'm sitting here reading some business magazines and hanging out with anybody who wants to come in and talk some business stuff. Miss Kataten. I know that's not your name, but you're Miss Kataten to me now. Miss Kataten, Miss Robin. If you could have your own business, which you kind of do, what would it be? In a perfect world, with all the resources at hand, everything taken care of, and all you need to do is do it, what would be your business model? What would you like to do? What would you like to provide? What service would you like to provide? What product or goods would you like to sell? And um, what would you need to make that happen? That is pretty much the topic of the day, outside of me catching up with some of my entrepreneurship and business magazines and leadership magazines here. I think the first person in the room talked about they wanted a cake business. Another creator that came on talked about oh man, was it music? I got to look back up and see what Beyond said. Somebody wants to do something with movie studios. Another person wants to do business with video marketing via YouTube, which he already does. That's Scott Fichter there. If you want to check his channel out, he does a lot of helpful videos that help creators like you and me get better with marketing their particular niche, like whatever it is that you do on YouTube, how to get your more brand awareness and how to um, make your channel better. And then I talked about mine too. Busy day for me. I stopped in and wanted to see what was up. Well, I'm actually just about wrapping things up now, but before I go, let me know, what would your perfect business setup be? If you had all the resources at hand, what and you could work for yourself and everything would be just, accounted for. If you had all the resources you needed, what type of business would you have? And what would it take to make it happen? All organic restaurant, of course, herbs and medicine. I can see that. I can so see that. Yes, I can see that. An all organic restaurant, herbs and medicine. And hello, Miss The Wiz coming in. Hello. I want to learn how to stream better live. So the streaming part would be the marketing part, I think, for you. The streaming part would be marketing, while the actual business part, what that would be so awesome if you could combine those two. Like basically do your own streaming from inside your restaurant, like maybe the dish of the day or whatever thing that was on sale. That would be, I could see that. There is a lady here in Texas. When I was doing my online store, it was called Sleep Goodies. I actually have products still from her. It's called Herbal Herbal Texas Herbals, Texas Medicinals, Texas Herbal, something like that. She's in Austin, Texas, and she has all kinds of herbs and she makes tinctures. And I bought two different products from her. They were like all natural sleep products where it was like basically a sleep elixir or sleep tonic, and it came in little vials. And yeah, I bought quite a bit of product from her. So I could see you doing that as well. The Wiz, the question of the day is, before I round it out, I'm going to get off here in just a little while. I've been reading my business magazines since I'm hashtag at home. That's the hashtag. That's the hot topic hashtag. Since a lot of people are at home lately, what are you doing while you're spending time at home? I'm catching up on my business magazine reading. But the question of the day is, if you could have your own business, you have all the resources at hand, you have all the money and capital you need, you have the space, you have the support, you have all the legal things in place, everything's fine. I mean, everything is just where you need it to be. What would your business be? If you could have your own business, what would it be? That's the question of the day. I make creams, tinctures, salves, buckwheat, and lavender pillows and soaps. I had the buckwheat pillows too. I had a couple of those. They're called Soba, something like that. Um, yeah, I sent most of my items back because I just wasn't making any money on my online stores. I have just the tinctures left, but I was selling sleep masks. I was selling lavender spray. I was selling all kinds of stuff, and well, I had it for sale. It wasn't selling, so I had to shut down my store. And soaps. I think I saw one of your earlier videos where you were making the soaps. The Wiz says mine would be looking for real pieces of furniture, flipping and selling. So, was that considered an antique store? Would you be an antiques dealer, or is that called something else? Or maybe like a restorer, like people actually restore things too. We've got a creator. We've got a creator. Let me see. The first person was a creator with cakes. The second person was more of a producer. The third person was more of a service related type person. Robin, you've got service and or product, and the Wiz, you've got a service, which is taking something, procuring it, and then redistributing it to people who are looking for that particular item. I think that would be considered an antique dealer. Yeah, that would be considered an antiques dealer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is almost 6:30 p.m. Um, I tried to pick the best time to come on. I never really know when is the best time to go live. I know I'm in Central Standard Time, so I've got folks that I know that watch from California, to Michigan, to Florida, and Indiana, and Maine, and everywhere in between. So I know all of our time zones are different, but I tried to get on somewhat in the middle of the day. I started at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time and tried to catch some folks. Um, and I have been on here for about 2 hours and 42 minutes. So if you all want to hear some of the readings that I had, I'll probably come back on another time just because my voice is getting a little bit tired and I'm starting to get some stuffiness and I don't like to read too much or do too much vocal stuff when I'm getting congested sounding. I'm going to come back on another day and come back with some tax information for 2020. So look forward to that. But in the meantime, on the replay, you can catch me reading, yes, you can catch me reading a little bit of the network journal here. You can catch me reading Entrepreneur. This is what I was reading just a little while ago. Also, Green Entrepreneur, which is specifically talking about the green industry, people who grow, sell, and make products from cannabis. I read a little bit from Working Women or Women Working. I read everything but this one, Women Inc. And I actually read part of this one in my International Women's Day. I read an article or two from this one from my International Women's Day video that I put out. Was that 2 weeks ago? Yeah. So keep an eye out for this one. I'm gonna read some of these articles here, take some notes, and put together a pre-recorded video to help out anybody who may benefit from getting some tax information from this tax guide. Mine will be, oh, I think I read that already. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for, let me see if I can scroll back up. I had Life of Key in the stream at 4. I had Beyond the Game, who came in at a quarter after, or quarter till. I had Bucky's 2.0 come in at 5. I had Mr. Scott Victor. If you have a channel that you're trying to grow and you want to make it, shiny and polished and really learn some great things, check out Scott Victor. He's got a ton of videos that I've learned a lot from, and I've made some changes on my channel. So yeah, check him out. Katatin Cooking Mama's Homestead. You know what? If I get back into my Sleep Goody store, me and you might have to collaborate. If you already know about the tincture stuff, I don't know how to make them. I just want to sell them. So we might have to network a little bit. So shout out to Miss Robin at Katatin Cooking Mama's Homestead. Shout out to the Wiz. And yeah, thank you everybody for joining me in the live stream today. Again, if you are interested in hearing some of those readings from the articles, play me on your way to work. Play me if my voice is soothing enough to you. Play me when you're getting ready to go to bed. Share this stream out with somebody who might find it informational. And yeah, this was one of my longer ones. So if you got something to do, like your commute to work, or maybe you're out shopping, well, not lately, but you could be. You could be out shopping or doing something, housework around the house, and you just want something playing in the background. I would be honored if you were to run this on the replay, hear about some of the stuff that I was talking about, some tips and tricks, and also just some good stories on some small and major entrepreneurs and some of the lessons that they want to sh- um, share with us. Let's do it. Stay safe, be blessed. Thank you very much, Ms. Robin. Okay, I will see you guys on the next round. Stay tuned for that upcoming tax video. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow morning, 7 Central Standard Time for my Bible readings. And yeah, everybody be safe. Take care. See you next time. Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Thanks for watching, share, like, and subscribe.